Every holiday, my husband's parents would take control of our plans. They'd say, "You'll celebrate with us or not at all." My husband, Ethan, would just sigh and tell me, "Just go along with it." One day, I smiled and said, "Sure. But first, let's watch this video together." When the screen turned on, their smug faces changed to shock and fear. For the first few years of our marriage, Ethan's parents, especially his mom, Carol, took over every holiday: Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, even the 4th of July. Before each one, I'd hold my breath, waiting for her call. And it always came. She never asked what our plans were. She'd just tell us where to be, what time to come, and even what to bring. It was always the same line: "You'll celebrate with us or not at all." If I suggested something different, she acted like I was crazy. "Why would you do that when we've already planned everything?" she'd say, pretending to be polite. The first year, I thought it was just a one-time thing. The second year, I saw the pattern. By the third year, I was frustrated. By the fourth, I was angry. What made it worse? Ethan never stood up for me. Whenever I talked about it, he'd just say, "It's not worth the fight." Not worth the fight? Not worth missing time with my own family? Not worth feeling like a guest in my own life? Not worth being ignored and disrespected for years? I stayed quiet too long. But last Thanksgiving, I'd had enough. A few weeks before Thanksgiving, Carol called me. "I've planned the whole menu," she said cheerfully. "I know you like to help, so you can bring the rolls." Store-bought rolls. That's all she let me bring. Like I was some stranger. I took a breath and said, "Actually, Ethan and I were thinking of doing Thanksgiving on our own this year." Silence. Then she laughed. "Oh, sweetie, don't be silly. You're coming here." I looked at Ethan, hoping he'd support me. But he just sighed. "Babe, just go along with it." That was the last straw. I smiled. "Sure," I said. "But first, let's watch this video together." A week before Thanksgiving, I invited Carol and her husband Greg over for dinner. They showed up happy, thinking I'd given in. Instead of dinner, I turned on the TV. I've been saving video clips for years. It started with Carol being controlling, snapping at me about how I made mashed potatoes. Greg saying, "Wives should be seen and not heard." Then it got worse. A clip of Carol snooping through our bedroom, caught on our security camera. Greg making racist remarks at Easter. Carol mocking Ethan behind his back, calling him spineless. And the final clip, a recording from the night before our wedding. Carol didn't know my car recorded audio, but it caught her saying, "I give it 6 months. He'll divorce her and find a proper wife." Silence. Carol looked like she'd seen a ghost. Greg's jaw dropped. Ethan looked stunned. Carol asked, "Where did you get this?" I just smiled. You know me, always prepared. Ethan finally asked, "Why didn't you show me this before?" I tilted my head. "Would you have believed me?" He didn't answer. Carol said, "You have to delete that." I smiled again. "Oh, Carol, don't be silly. I've backed it up." Now she was panicking. Greg looked at Ethan and said, "Son, you need to handle this." But Ethan just stared at the screen, like he finally saw who his parents really were. Carol said, "You won't do anything rash, will you?" I leaned in and said, "Of course not. But from now on, we'll celebrate holidays however we want, and if you try to guilt trip us or go through our things again." I held up my phone. I might feel generous and share this with the whole family group chat. Carol's face twisted with anger and fear. Greg looked completely defeated. They left without saying another word. Ethan sat in silence for a while. Then he finally said, "Holy sh*." I shrugged. "Now do you understand why I was upset?" He nodded. "Yeah, I do." For the first time, he stood up to them. For the first time, I felt free. But I knew it wasn't over. Carol wasn't the type to give up easily. They left quietly that night, but I didn't think that would be the end of it. I was right. For 5 days, we heard nothing. I started to wonder if they had finally accepted they were wrong. I should have known better. On the 6th night, Ethan's phone started buzzing. Again and again. At first, he ignored it. Then he sat up, grabbed his phone, and stared at the screen. His face changed. "What the hell?" he muttered. I sat up too. "What is it?" He didn't answer. I took the phone. The family group chat was blowing up. Aunts, uncles, cousins were messaging nonstop. "Did you see what Carol posted?" "OMG, Ethan, what's going on?" You should be ashamed. I scrolled up. At the top was a dramatic Facebook post from Carol. It started sweet. Family means everything to me. I've always tried to bring people together. Then it turned nasty. But sometimes people change. They let toxic people in. They become cruel. Then the attack. My son has been taken from me. Brainwashed. Controlled. I am heartbroken. She blamed me. Said I turned Ethan against her. Said I was a manipulator. That I planned this all along. The ending hit hard. A real mother never stops loving her son. I hope one day he sees the truth. The comments were full of sympathy. I'm so sorry, Carol. You don't deserve this. Stay strong. He'll come back to you. The worst part? Some of Ethan's relatives believed her. Not all of them, but enough. I scrolled through the messages, feeling disgusted, and saw replies from his Aunt Margaret, cousin Josh, and even his brother Ryan, his own brother. Seriously? You're cutting off your parents? Over what? They love you, man. Think about this. I clenched my fists. She's turning the tables, I muttered, making herself the victim. Ethan's face went pale. He looked like someone had punched him in the stomach. I don't get it, he whispered. I understood. Carol had lost control of him in private, so now she was trying to control him in public. And the worst part, it was working. I put his phone down and grabbed mine. I had learned that in situations like this, staying quiet was the best move. If I defended myself or tried to explain, I'd just give Carol more power. So I said nothing. But Ethan couldn't stay quiet. That morning he called his mom. She picked up right away, fake tears already in her voice. Ethan, sweetheart, I knew you'd come around. I knew you'd realize how much you're hurting this family. Ethan took a deep breath. Mom, take the post down. There was silence, then a small laugh. Oh, honey, why would I do that? Ethan gripped the phone harder. Because it's a lie. She gasped, actually gasped, like he had slapped her. A lie? Ethan, I've done nothing but love you. And what do I get in return? Humiliation? Betrayal? Ethan pinched the bridge of his nose. Mom, you went through our bedroom. You called my wife controlling. You said you hope I'd divorce her. Carol sniffled dramatically. Oh, so she's feeding you lies now. I know how this works. First, she isolates you. Then she makes you doubt your own mother. Ethan clenched his jaw. I saw the videos, Mom, with my own eyes. Carol was silent for a moment. Then her voice turned cold, all pretense gone. Well, if that's how you feel, she said sharply, then I guess we'll see you at Christmas. Or not at all. She hung up. Ethan stared at the phone, looking like it might bite him. He exhaled. Holy asterisk. I crossed my arms. Now do you see what I've been dealing with? He nodded slowly. For the first time, I saw real anger in his eyes. Not frustration, not helplessness, but pure anger. She's not getting away with this, he muttered. And for the first time in our marriage, I actually believed him. After Carol's dramatic post, Ethan's phone kept buzzing. Messages came pouring in. Some family members demanding explanations. Some defended his mom. Others just wanted drama. At first, Ethan tried responding. This isn't what you think. You don't know the whole story. There are things you haven't seen. Mom isn't the victim here. But it didn't matter. People wanted to believe the lie. And Carol knew it. She had spent years creating her perfect image, the loving mother, the devoted matriarch who only wanted the best for her son. A few days later, Ethan's brother Ryan called. Look, man, Ryan said, his voice tight. I don't know what's going on, but Mom's a wreck. She hasn't eaten in days. She cries all the time. She says you won't even talk to her. Ethan rubbed his face. Ryan, she's playing you. She's fine. You don't know that. Ryan shot back. She's lost weight. She's not sleeping. Dad says she just sits in the dark, waiting for you to come to your senses. I almost laughed. Carol sitting in the dark? So dramatic. Ethan wasn't buying it either. Is she suffering so much, he asked. Why is she still posting on Facebook? Ryan hesitated. She's just trying to explain her side. Ethan let out a bitter laugh. Her side is a bunch of lies, he snapped. Did she tell you she went through our bedroom? Did she tell you she called my wife controlling? Did she tell you she said she hoped I'd get divorced? Ryan went quiet, then finally said, No, of course not. Because Carol only told the version that made her look good. She's your mother, Ethan, Ryan said. Are you really going to throw her away over this? Ethan's face hardened. I'm not throwing her away, he said. She's the one giving me a choice, her way or nothing. Ryan didn't answer. He just sighed and muttered, Think about it, man, then hung up. Ethan stared at his phone. Slowly, he turned to me. I think she's planning something. I crossed my arms. She always is. But neither of us were ready for what happened next. A week later, while Ethan was at work, someone knocked on our door. I checked the peephole and my stomach dropped. It was the police. For a split second, I panicked. Had something happened to Ethan? Was he hurt? I yanked the door open. Ma'am, one of the officers said, we got a call about a possible domestic disturbance at this residence. I blinked. What? The second officer looked at his notes. The caller reported concerns about a woman in distress, possible emotional abuse. My blood ran cold. Carol, it had to be her. I forced myself to stay calm. I think there's been a mistake. The officers exchanged glances. We still have to check, one of them said. Would you mind stepping outside? I did. One officer stayed with me while the other looked around the house. Is your husband home? No, I said, trying to keep it together. Are you okay? I let out a humorless laugh. I'm perfectly fine. The officer gave me a long look. Then he nodded. All right, sorry for the trouble. We had to follow up. They left. The second the door shut, I grabbed my phone. I called Ethan. When he answered, I said, Your mother just sent the cops to our house. Silence. Then very quietly, Ethan said, Tell me everything. Ethan was furious, not just mad. Furious. He'd been trying to keep things peaceful, trying to maintain some relationship with his mom. But now, this was war. That night, Ethan called his mom. She didn't answer, so he texted her. Did you call the police on my wife? The message was read at 9:42 p.m. No response. He waited an hour. Then he called again. This time she picked up. Oh, sweetheart, she sighed. I was just about to call you. Did you send the cops to our house? Silence. Then she gasped, actually gasped. Oh my God, is that what they told you? No, honey, I would never do that. But I did mention to a friend I was worried about you, and maybe she called. But I had no idea. Ethan hung up. No yelling. No arguing. Just hung up. Then he turned to me. She's done. For the first time, he cut her off, blocked her number, blocked her on Facebook, told his family everything. Carol tried everything to get him back. Called from different numbers. Had Greg text, Your mother is sick with worry. Had Ryan send a long message, She's still your mom, man. Ethan didn't budge. Then Carol did the one thing she had left. She showed up at Ethan's office, in tears. Security had to escort her out. That night, she left him a voicemail. Through sobs, she whispered, I hope you're happy, Ethan. You broke your mother's heart. Ethan played the voicemail for me, and I waited for him to react, maybe sighed or look guilty. But instead, he just shook his head. She's never going to stop, he muttered. I put my hand on his. So what do we do now? Ethan thought for a moment, then looked up at me, and he said something I never expected. We end this. Carol had lied, manipulated, turned family against us, and even sent the police to our door. When that didn't work, she showed up at Ethan's office. It was clear she wouldn't stop unless we made her. So Ethan made a choice. He called a family meeting. It was time to put an end to it. Ethan sent a message to the family group chat. We need to talk. No more rumors. This ends now. Meet at our house this Saturday. Carol saw it. She didn't respond, but I knew she would show up. She wouldn't miss a chance to make herself look better. By Saturday, the tension was thick in our house. Ethan barely said anything that morning. I could see it on his face. He was dreading this. But under that, I saw something else. Determination. He was done being controlled. At exactly 3 p.m., everyone arrived. Carol, Greg, Ryan, a few cousins, aunts, and uncles. Carol walked in last, like she owned the place. Her eyes scanned the room, her lips tight in a little smile. She looked confident, like she thought she could still win. I almost felt bad for her. Almost. Nobody sat down. The room was too tense. Ethan stood in the middle with his arms crossed. Carol sighed dramatically. Ethan, honey, is this really necessary? This family has been through enough. Ethan's jaw clenched. Yeah, Mom, it is. She put a hand to her chest. I just want to fix things. I've been sick with worry. I haven't eaten. I haven't slept. Ethan cut her off. Then why did you send the police to our house? The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Carol. She blinked, acting surprised. What? Police? Ethan, I would never. Stop lying. Ethan's voice was sharp. Carol flinched. For the first time, she looked nervous. Greg shifted uncomfortably. Ryan cleared his throat and avoided eye contact. But Ethan wasn't done. I didn't want to do this, he said, pulling out his phone. But you forced my hand. He pressed play. Carol's voicemail filled the room. I hope you're happy, Ethan. You broke your mother's heart. I don't even know if I'll be here next Christmas. I hope you can live with yourself. The room was dead silent. Then Ethan looked up and his words hit like a hammer. This is emotional abuse. Carol's mouth dropped open. She looked around at everyone, searching for support, but no one said anything. Even Ryan was silent. I've spent my whole life trying to make you happy, Ethan said, his voice shaking. But it's never enough, is it? You always need more. More control, more attention, more power over me. And when you lose even a little bit, you lash out. You spread lies. You attack my wife. You turn my family against me. Carol shook her head quickly. That's not true. That's not true. Ethan, honey, you're confused? Ethan took a step closer. You told my wife I'd divorce her before we were even married. A few gasps. Carol's face turned red. I didn't mean. You went through our bedroom. You insulted my wife. You lied to this entire family about what happened. Ethan turned to Greg. Dad, you've been quiet. Do you want to defend her? Greg shifted, uncomfortable. I mean, your mother only meant well. Ethan let out a bitter laugh. Of course she did. Then he turned to the group. This is the truth. You've all seen it now. You can either believe it or keep pretending. But either way, he looked Carol in the eyes. We're done. Carol's face twisted with rage. You can't just. We can, and we are. Ryan stepped forward. Ethan, man, come on. She's still our mom. Ethan exhaled, shaking his head. No, Ryan, she's your mom. She's my abuser. And just like that, it was over. Carol broke down. Her whole body shook. You can't do this to me. I am your mother. Ethan didn't even flinch, then act like one. He turned to the door. Get out. Carol hesitated. For a second, I saw something in her eyes, not sadness. Fear. She knew she had lost. She let out a shaky breath, then turned and walked out. Greg followed. Then Ryan. Then the others. No goodbyes. No apologies. Just silence. When the door finally shut, Ethan let out a long, slow breath. His shoulders slumped. His hands trembled. I reached for him. He let me, and for the first time in years, he was free. Carol didn't stop trying. For weeks, she sent messages, begging, pleading, threatening. Ethan never answered. When Christmas came, she sent a long, dramatic email. I never thought my own son would abandon me on the holidays. I hope your new family is worth it. Ethan read it. Then, without a word, he deleted it. We spent Christmas alone for the first time. There was no pressure, no guilt. No walking on eggshells. We made hot cocoa. We watched old movies. We laughed. And for the first time in years, the holidays felt like ours. Not Carol's. Not Greg's. Ours. And that was the best revenge of all.
The numbers glared back at me from my phone screen, 0. I blinked hard, refreshed the app, and checked again. Still 0. My hands started shaking as I clicked through to the transaction history. There it was, a withdrawal of $47,500. My entire IVF fund gone. My name is Madison, and I've spent the last 12 years of my life building my family's catering business into something remarkable. Through 3 miscarriages, countless 70-hour weeks, and every holiday season spent serving other people's celebrations instead of having my own. all while saving every spare dollar for one shot at having a baby through IVF. "Mum!" I called out, my voice echoing through our commercial kitchen. "Dad!" The lunch rush had ended and they were supposed to be doing inventory. I found them in the storage room, heads bent together over a clipboard. They looked up when I entered, and something in their expressions made my stomach drop. "What happened to my savings account?" I held up my phone, screen still displaying that haunting 0 balance. "Someone withdrew everything yesterday. Please tell me this is a bank error." Mum's face did that thing where she tries to look concerned but can't quite hide the calculation behind her eyes. "Maddie, sweetheart, sit down. We need to talk about Jacoby." The mention of my brother's name sent ice through my veins. "What did he do this time?" "He's in trouble," Dad said, not meeting my eyes. "Serious trouble. He needed bail money." "And you took my money?" My voice cracked. "How did you even access my account?" Mum reached for my hand. I pulled away. "We're co-signers on all the business accounts, remember? For emergencies." "This was my personal savings account, the one I've been building for 5 years, for my IVF." "Family comes first, Madison," Mom said, using that tone that always made me feel 2 inches tall. "Your brother could have gone to prison, real prison this time." "Maybe he should," I whispered. "Maybe that's exactly where he needs to be." "Don't say that!" Mom's voice sharpened. "He's your brother. Blood is thicker than water." I pulled up the withdrawal slip on my phone and zoomed in. There was my signature, except I hadn't signed anything. "You forged my signature?" Dad finally looked at me, his face flushed. "Now, Madison, that's a very serious accusation. We were going to tell you. We'll pay you back as soon as... "As soon as what?" I cut him off. "As soon as Jacoby gets his act together, as soon as he stops using, as soon as he magically becomes responsible." I laughed, and it sounded hollow even to my own ears. "I'm 34. My fertility isn't going to wait for Jacoby to grow up." "We're family," Mom insisted. "We support each other. Your brother needs help more than you need a baby right now." The words hit me like a physical blow. I stepped back, bumping into a shelf of bulk spices. "More than I need. Do you have any idea what I've sacrificed for this family, for this business?" "Of course we do, honey, and we're grateful, but family comes first," I finished for her. "Except I'm family too, or at least I thought I was." Mum's face hardened. "You're being dramatic. Once Jacoby gets back on his feet..." "Stop." I held up my hand. "Just stop. Where is he now?" "At that halfway house on Cedar Street," Dad mumbled. "He's doing better this time, really." I nodded slowly, a strange calm settling over me. "I need some air. I'm going for a walk." "Madison, wait," Mom called after me, but I was already walking away. I made it to my car before the tears came. Not the soft, sad kind, but hot, angry tears that burned down my cheeks. My phone buzzed with a text from Mum. "Come back inside. We need to discuss this as a family." Family. The word that had trapped me here for so long. The excuse they always used when they needed something from me. The chain they wrapped around my neck every time I tried to put myself first. I wiped my eyes and opened my contacts. Scrolled to Kay. "Camila, I need your help. Can you meet me somewhere private?" "Of course, girl. What's wrong?" I started the car, my hands steady now. "I'll tell you everything. But first, do you still have that contact at the bank who knows about forensic accounting?" "Madison, what are you planning?" I looked back at the building that had consumed my life, where my parents were probably already planning how to manipulate me into forgiveness. Something I should have done a long time ago. "I'll meet you at my place in 20, Camila said. "Bring your laptop." I pulled out of the parking lot, and for the first time in years, I felt something other than resignation. I felt powerful. They wanted to talk about family. Fine. Let's see how they like it when family comes first. "You want to do what?" Camila stared at me over her kitchen island, wine glass frozen halfway to her lips. "Transfer everything. I repeated, my laptop open between us. Every penny in the business accounts. I'm still a co-signer. It's perfectly legal. Legal, maybe, but Madison, she set down her glass. This would destroy them. They destroyed me first. I pulled up the banking portal. Look at these numbers, Camilla. 10 years of profit. My profit. I haven't taken a real salary in 3 years because I was reinvesting in the family business while saving separately for IVF. Camilla leaned forward, squinting at the screen. That's a lot of money. $843,000. I'd memorized the number, stared at it during countless sleepless nights. Plus the equipment, the contracts, the reputation I built. All of it in their names because family businesses don't need paperwork. My phone buzzed again, the 15th text from Mom. I turned it face down without reading it. Where would you even go? Camilla asked. I pulled up another tab. Remember that fertility clinic in San Diego I researched last year? The one with the amazing success rates? I showed her their website. They have an opening next month. I already called them. San Diego? Camilla's eyes widened. That's actually perfect. Your parents would never think to look there. They don't even know you considered other clinics. I nodded. I found an apartment complex right by the beach. Month-to-month lease, utilities included. I can work remotely for that marketing firm that's been trying to poach me. You've really thought this through. I've had 12 years to think about escape routes. I pulled up a calendar. The transfer needs to happen on a Friday. They never check the accounts over weekends. By the time they notice on Tuesday, you'll be gone. Camilla stood up and started pacing. But what about your stuff, your life here? I've been slowly moving things to a storage unit for weeks, ever since they started hinting about needing money for Jacoby again. I closed my laptop. I just didn't know they'd go this far. What do you need from me? A place to crash until Friday, and... I hesitated. I need you to lie when they come asking. Camilla stopped pacing. They will come asking. Your mum especially. She'll try everything. Tell them I was upset, that I needed space, that you don't know where I went. I met her eyes. It's not even really a lie. She sat back down heavily. What about the employees, the weddings we have booked? I've already contacted Tessa, the property manager. She's willing to lease the space to new tenants. Apparently, my parents are 3 months behind on rent anyway. I pulled out a stack of papers. And I've been referring our clients to other caterers for weeks, told them we were scaling back operations. Damn, girl! Camilla whistled low. You really are your mother's daughter. No, I said sharply, I'm nothing like her. She destroys people to enable Jacoby. I'm just taking back what's mine. My phone buzzed again. This time I looked. They're at the house, I said, probably waiting to ambush me with another family meeting. Stay here tonight, Camilla said firmly. We'll get your remaining stuff tomorrow while they're at the kitchen. I nodded, throat tight. Thank you. I know this puts you in an awkward position. Hey! She reached across the island and grabbed my hand. Remember when I wanted to leave my ex? How you let me hide out at your place for 2 weeks? This is me returning the favour. We spent the next few hours planning. I called the clinic in San Diego, booked the apartment, and set up the transfer schedule. Every detail had to be perfect. One last thing, Camilla said, as we were getting ready for bed. What about Jacoby? I paused, pillow in hand. What about him? He'll be devastated when the business goes under. No more bailouts, no more enabling. Maybe that's exactly what he needs. I set the pillow down carefully. Rock bottom looks different when there's no safety net. And your parents? I thought about all the holidays I'd worked while they took Jacoby to rehab. All the times they'd praised my responsibility while enabling his chaos. All the dreams I'd put on hold because family came first. They made their choice, I said quietly. Now I'm making mine. That night I dreamed of ocean waves and empty bank accounts, of freedom and karma and the sweet, sharp taste of justice. Come Friday, everything would change. And for once, family wouldn't come first. I would. Friday morning dawned clear and cold. I sat in Camila's guest room, finger hovering over my phone's banking app. 8:59 a.m., 1 minute until the transfer. You're sure about this? Camila stood in the doorway, coffee mug clutched in both hands. The clock ticked to 9 hunk. I pressed confirm transfer. Done! My hands shook as I watched the confirmation screen load. $843,000 transferred to my new account. How long until they notice? Mum's at her book club until noon. Dad's golfing. They won't check the accounts until Tuesday. I stood up, suddenly restless. My flight's at 2. Everything's in storage except what's in my car. Camilla set down her coffee and hugged me tight. Text me when you land, and Madison, don't look back. Look, the drive to the airport felt surreal. I passed the catering kitchen one last time, its familiar sign mocking me. Through the window I could see our prep cook starting the day's work. He had no idea he wouldn't get paid next week. My phone rang. Mum's face lit up the screen. Hey, sweetie, her voice dripped honey when I answered. Are you feeling better? We missed you at dinner last night. I'm fine, I merged onto the highway. Just busy with that corporate event in Cincinnati. Oh, good, I'm glad you're working. Speaking of work, your father and I were thinking about Jacoby. Mum, I can't talk right now. I'm driving. Just hear me out. He's doing so well at the halfway house. Maybe we could bring him in to help with deliveries. Give him some responsibility. I laughed, sharp and bitter. Like when he helped last year and sold our delivery van for drug money. That's not fair. He's changed this time. I have to go. I hung up before she could respond. At the airport, I texted our head chef. Emergency came up. Won't be in next week. Sorry for the short notice. Then I turned off my phone and boarded the plane. 5 hours later, I stood on a balcony in San Diego, watching the sunset paint the ocean gold. My new apartment was small but bright, with a view that made my heart ache with possibility. I turned my phone back on. 47 missed calls, 63 texts, most from Mom, some from Dad, 3 from unknown numbers that had to be Jacoby. I opened one text from Mom. Called Cincinnati. There's no corporate event. Where are you really? Then Dad. Your mother is worried sick. Call us immediately. And Jacoby. They said you disappeared. What's going on? I ignored them all and opened my laptop instead. Created a new email account. Sent one message to Tessa, the property manager. Check the business account before accepting next month's rent payment. Madison. My phone rang again. This time it was Camilla. They're freaking out, she said without preamble. Your mum came by my place. She's convinced something horrible happened to you. What did you tell her? That you seemed upset about the IVF money, but I hadn't heard from you. She didn't believe me. I walked back to the balcony, letting the ocean breeze cool my face. Tuesday's going to be rough. I know. Your mum already tried accessing the business account from her phone, but she can't remember the password. She changed it last month, I said, after Jacoby tried to hack it. Camilla was quiet for a moment. Are you okay? I watched a seagull dive into the waves. I'm free. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept checking my bank account, making sure the money was real, making sure I hadn't dreamed it all. At 3 a.m, a text from an unknown number. The halfway house is kicking me out. Mum and Dad aren't answering. Please help. Jacoby. I blocked the number. At 4 a.m, an email from Tessa. Just saw the account status. Oh my God, what did they do to make you snap? I didn't answer. At sunrise, I walked down to the beach. The sand was cold between my toes, the air thick with salt and possibility. My phone buzzed with another message from Mom. Whatever's wrong, we can fix it as a family. Please come home. I took a deep breath of ocean air and typed my response. Family comes first, remember? I'm just following your example. Then I blocked her number too. Back in my apartment, I opened my laptop and logged into the fertility clinic's patient portal. My first appointment was scheduled for Monday. New city, new doctor, new life. Let Tuesday come. Let them discover the empty accounts, the transferred money, the missing daughter who finally put herself first. I was done being the responsible one, done being the safety net, done being the good daughter who sacrificed everything for family. Now it was their turn to sacrifice. The first viral video appeared on Wednesday. I was sitting in my new fertility clinic's waiting room when Kamala sent me the link. "You need to see this," her text read. The video showed our catering kitchen storefront now plastered with bright orange eviction notices. Stephanie Ray, a local food influencer with over 200,000 followers, stood in front of the door. "This is crazy, you guys," she said into the camera. "McCarthy's Catering, the place that did all those amazing wedding videos I shared last year, completely abandoned. Word is they ghosted multiple wedding clients and their entire staff." I watched as she panned to show my parents arguing in the parking lot. Mum was gesturing wildly, her face red. Dad looked deflated, leaning against their car like his legs couldn't hold him. "Madison," the nurse called my name. I quickly closed the video. By the time I finished my appointment, the story had exploded. Local news picked it up. Former employees were commenting. Clients were sharing their cancellation stories. My phone lit up with a text from Tessa. "Your mother tried to break into the kitchen, had to call the police." I clicked the attached photo. Mum stood on the sidewalk screaming at a police officer while Dad tried to pull her away. The sight made my stomach clench. "What did she want?" I texted back. Said there must be some mistake with the accounts. Kept saying she needed to check the computers inside. Another message popped up, this one from Camila. "Turn on the local news live stream, now." I did. Mum was standing in front of our kitchen, giving an impromptu press conference. "My daughter Madison has had some kind of breakdown," she said, voice trembling perfectly. "She's taken everything, all our operating capital, all our savings. We're worried sick about her mental state." Dad stood behind her, nodding solemnly. I noticed Jacoby wasn't there. "If anyone has information about her whereabouts, please contact us. Madison, honey, if you're watching this, come home. We can get you help." The comments section exploded. "Something seems off about this story. Why would a daughter just abandon a successful business? Weren't they just in the news for that huge wedding at the country club?" Then someone posted, "Check their court records. Brother's got quite the rap sheet. Bet there's more to this story." My phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Is this Madison?" A woman's voice. "This is Rita from Channel 7 News. We'd love to get your side of the story." I hung up. Another text from Camila. "Your mum's trying to access the security cameras. Wants to prove you were acting erratic before you left." I laughed darkly. "Good luck. I wiped the system before I left." "Smart girl. Oh shit, you need to see this. Stephanie Ray just posted again." This video showed my mother trying to force her way past the police officer. "That's my business," she screamed. "You can't keep me out of my own business." "Ma'am," the officer said calmly, "the property manager has filed a formal complaint. You're 3 months behind on rent." "We'll pay. We just need to get inside and what?" Tessa's voice came from off camera. "Get the money you already transferred out. Check the accounts you already drained." Mum whirled around. "You don't know what you're talking about. Our daughter, she's sick. She needs help." "Funny," Tessa said. "I have copies of all the forged withdrawal slips, the ones with Madison's signature that she never signed. Should I show those to the police?" The video cut off there, but the damage was done. The comments shifted. "Wait, they forged her signature." Anyone else notice the mother keeps changing her story? My cousin worked there, said Madison was the only one who actually ran things. A new text from an unknown number. "Sis, they're losing it. Dad's talking about bankruptcy. Please call them." I blocked Jacoby's new number and opened my clinic paperwork instead. First hormone injection scheduled for tomorrow. New bank account secure. New life taking shape. My laptop pinged with an email notification. A local business reporter. Sources suggest financial impropriety at McCarthy's Catering. Would you like to comment on allegations that your parents forged your signature to access personal funds? I clicked delete. Another text from Camila. Your mum's making calls, trying to track your phone. She's convinced you're having a crisis. I looked out my window at the ocean. Let her think that. Better than admitting what they did. The social media storm is getting worse. People are digging up old court records, finding Jacoby's arrests. Not my problem anymore. But late that night, watching the waves crash against the shore, I felt a twinge of something. Not regret exactly, but weight. The weight of consequences of public destruction, of a family imploding in real time while the internet watched and commented. I opened my clinic paperwork again, focusing on the future growing inside, my hope-filled syringe. Let them have their viral moment. Let them face the consequences of their choices. I had a different kind of family to build now. Madison speaking. I answered the unknown number against my better judgment, expecting another reporter. Hey, sis. Jacoby's voice was quiet, different from his usual manipulative charm. Don't hang up, please. My finger hovered over the end call button. I'm not asking for money, he said quickly. I need to know if you're okay. I laughed harshly. Since when do you care if I'm okay? Since I watched Mum and Dad completely fall apart this week, he paused. Since I realised maybe they deserved it. I sat down on my balcony chair, ocean breeze cooling my suddenly warm face. Are you high right now? No. 4 months clean, actually. For real this time. He sighed. The halfway house is good. Different from the others. Makes you face yourself, you know? Why are you calling Jacoby? Mom and Dad told me what they did with your IVF money. His voice cracked slightly. I didn't know, Maddie. I swear I didn't know it was your baby fund. Would it have mattered if you did? Silence stretched between us. No, he finally admitted. Probably not. I was pretty far gone then. And now? Now I'm sitting in group therapy watching Mom's meltdown go viral, realising I helped destroy my sister's life. I closed my eyes against the setting sun. You didn't destroy my life. I'm actually doing pretty well. Yeah? A hint of his old smile crept into his voice. The ocean sounds nice. My eyes snapped open. How did you... I can hear the waves, sis. Don't worry, I won't tell them where you are. They don't deserve to know. More silence. A seagull cried overhead. I'm sorry, he said softly, for everything. For being the reason you couldn't have a baby. For letting them enable me. For... My phone beeped with another call. The fertility clinic's number. I have to go. I cut him off. I have another call. Wait, can I call you again sometime? I hesitated. I'll think about it. I switched calls. Hello? Madison, this is Dr. Roberts. I have your preliminary results. My heart stopped. Already? The hormone response is excellent. Your levels are perfect for implantation next week. I gripped the balcony railing. You mean, if you're ready, we can proceed with the embryo transfer on schedule. Your chances look very promising. Tears spilled down my cheeks. Yes, I'm ready. After hanging up, I sat watching the sunset, hand resting on my still flat stomach. My phone buzzed with a text from Camila. You need to see this. Your dad's in the hospital. My fingers shook as I opened the link. Local news again. Local business owner hospitalized after stress-induced cardiac event. Before I could process that, another text from Jacoby. Dad's okay. Minor heart attack. Mom's blaming you. Then a voicemail notification. Mom's number using Dad's phone to get through my blocks. How dare you? Her voice shook with rage. Your father is in the hospital because of what you did. You've destroyed this family. Are you happy now? Is this what you wanted? I deleted it without listening to the rest. My phone lit up again. Tessa. Police just interviewed your parents about the forged documents. Your mother's facing potential fraud charges. I opened my balcony door, letting the ocean air clear my head. Another text from Jacoby. Don't let them guilt you. Dad's heart problems started years ago. Doctor says it was probably all the stress of covering my mistakes. I typed back before I could stop myself. Take care of yourself, Jacoby. You too, sis. And hey, I hope you get your baby. Fresh tears burned my eyes. I looked down at my stomach again, imagining the possibility growing inside me. Not just a baby now, but freedom. A new kind of family. One built on love instead of obligation. My laptop pinged with an email from my old head chef. The kitchen equipment's being seized next week. Your mother's having another meltdown. But, Madison, I get it now. We all do. Take care of yourself. I closed my laptop and walked down to the beach. The sand was still warm from the day's sun, the waves gentle against the shore. My phone buzzed again, probably more drama, more consequences, more fallout. But for the first time since I left, I felt something shift inside me. Not guilt, not satisfaction. Something else. Peace, maybe. Or hope. Next week, I could be carrying a child. My child. No strings attached, no family obligations, no manipulation disguised as love. Let them deal with their consequences. I had a different future to focus on now, one that started with a single cell dividing. A new life, a clean slate, a family of my own making. They're trying to track you through me. Camila's voice crackled through my phone as I paced my apartment. Your mum showed up at my office today. What did she want? Same old guilt trip. Madison needs help. We're her family, blah, blah, blah. But this time she brought a private investigator. I stopped pacing. She what? Some sleazy guy in a cheap suit started asking about your bank records, your phone records. Camila laughed. I told him to get a warrant. A knock at my door made me jump. I peered through the peephole to see my neighbour Philip holding a paper bag. Hold on, I told Camilla, opening the door. Thought you might want dinner, Philip said, holding up the bag. That little Thai place you liked. I nodded, gesturing him in while returning to my call. What else did the investigator say? He tried to convince me you were mentally unstable, that you'd had some kind of breakdown. Camilla's voice hardened. Your mum showed him the withdrawal slips, the ones with your forged signature, trying to prove you'd been acting erratic. Philip raised an eyebrow as he unpacked the food. That's rich, I said, considering those forgeries are the reason the police are investigating them now. Exactly. Oh, and get this. Tessa sent me screenshots of your mum trying to access the security footage through the building's IT company. She's desperate to prove you were unstable before you left. The footage I deleted. The very same. Philip slid a plate of pad thai toward me. I put the phone on speaker and sat down. There's more, Camilla continued. Your dad checked himself out of the hospital against medical advice. They're about to lose the house. The house? My fork froze halfway to my mouth. How? Apparently they took out a second mortgage to cover Jacoby's legal fees last year. Now they can't make the payments. Philip whistled low. Your family doesn't do anything halfway, do they? Who's that? Camilla asked. My neighbour, Philip. He brings me food and pretends not to judge my family drama. I'm not judging, Philip said, reaching for the spring rolls. I'm admiring your escape plan. Very Count of Monte Cristo. A new text flashed on my screen. Unknown number, but I recognised the area code from the halfway house. Maddie, Jacoby's message read. They're trying to track your phone through the family plan. Switch carriers. I showed the text to Philip. My brother's actually being helpful? Maybe he's finally growing up, Camilla suggested. Or maybe he's in on their plan, I countered. Speaking of plans, Philip said, isn't your procedure tomorrow? Before I could answer, my phone rang. The fertility clinic. Madison, Dr. Roberts here. Your latest blood work is perfect. We're all set for tomorrow morning. I felt Philip squeeze my hand as I confirmed the appointment time. After hanging up, I sat in silence, pushing my food around the plate. "You okay?" Philip asked softly. "What if they find me?" The fear I'd been suppressing bubbled up. What if they try to stop the procedure? "They won't," Camilla said firmly through the speaker. "I won't let them." "Neither will I," Philip added. My phone buzzed again. A voicemail from Mom, using another new number. "Your father could have died, Madison. His heart can't take this stress. If you have any love left for this family, any at all, you'll come home and fix what you've broken. We raised you better than this." I deleted it without finishing. Again. "You know what's funny?" I said to both Philip and Camilla. "They keep saying they raised me better than this. But they raised me exactly like this. They taught me that family means taking what you want and justifying it later. Difference is," Philip said, "you're taking back what's yours." My phone lit up with another text from Jacoby. "Mum's losing it. She's talking about hiring a lawyer to declare you incompetent. Get yourself a good lawyer, sis." "Already done," I typed back. Camilla's voice crackled through the speaker. "The local business journal is running a story tomorrow about the fraud investigation. Your parents' lawyer advised them to stop talking to the press." "Too late for that," Philip said, showing me his phone. Another viral video, Mom screaming at the bank manager, demanding access to frozen accounts. I pushed my plate away, suddenly exhausted. Tomorrow I could be carrying a child. Tomorrow everything could change. "Get some rest," Philip said, standing to clear the plates. "I'll drive you to the clinic in the morning." "We've got your back," Camilla added, "no matter what happens." I looked at these two people, one old friend, one new, who had become my chosen family, who supported me without conditions, without manipulation, without the weight of toxic obligation. Maybe that's what real family looks like. "The embryo transfer was successful," Dr. Roberts said, smiling at me over her desk. "Congratulations, Madison, you're officially pregnant." 2 weeks had passed since the procedure. 2 weeks of hoping, waiting, and trying not to check my phone every 5 minutes. Philip squeezed my hand as happy tears rolled down my cheeks. My bubble of joy burst when my phone buzzed. Camilla's name flashed on the screen. "Turn on any news channel," she said without preamble. "It's happening." Philip and I rushed to the waiting room, where a TV mounted on the wall was playing the local news from back home. My mother stood on the courthouse steps, handcuffed, while my father spoke to reporters. "My wife made some unfortunate decisions," he was saying, his voice trembling. "The stress of our daughter's disappearance, the business collapse, it affected her judgment." The ticker at the bottom read, "Local business owner arrested for financial fraud. Elder abuse." "Elder abuse," I whispered. "They found out she'd been stealing from your grandmother's retirement account too," Camilla explained. "The fraud investigation uncovered everything." The camera panned to show my mother being led to a police car. She looked directly into the lens and screamed, "Madison, this is your fault. Are you happy now?" Philip turned off the TV. "Let's get you home." Back in my apartment, the updates kept rolling in. Tessa sent screenshots of the official charges: fraud, forgery, elder financial abuse, tax evasion. The DA's office is calling it a pattern of financial manipulation, Camilla reported. They found evidence going back years. My phone lit up with a text from Jacoby. "Mum's looking at serious time. Dad's cooperating with prosecutors to save himself. The house is being foreclosed next week." I sat on my balcony, one hand resting protectively over my stomach. Philip brought me tea and sat quietly beside me. "I should feel bad," I said finally. "They're my parents. I should feel something." "You do feel something," he said gently. "Just not what they want you to feel." Another text from Jacoby. "I got arrested again. Minor charge, but no one's around to bail me out this time." "Good," I typed back. "Yeah," he responded. "Maybe it is good. Maybe I need this." Camilla called again. Your dad's giving interviews, trying to save face. He's claiming your mum acted alone, that he was a victim too. Classic dad, I said, avoiding responsibility until the end. The business is officially defunct, she continued. Tessa's already leased the space to a new restaurant. My phone buzzed with an email notification from Dad. Your mother's lawyer wants you to testify, please. She's still your mother. Delete, another from Mum's new lawyer. Your testimony could help reduce sentencing. Family should stand together. Delete, a letter arrived in my mailbox. Actual paper mail, forwarded through Camilla. Jacoby's handwriting. I'm sorry, not just for the money this time, for everything, for being the black hole that sucked up all their attention, all their resources, all their love, for letting them enable me while they suffocated you, for watching them steal your dreams and staying silent. You deserved better. We all deserved better. I'm staying in jail this time, doing the program. For real, not for them, for me. Maybe someday we can talk again, maybe not. That's up to you. Take care of yourself and that baby. Be the parent we never had. Jacoby. I folded the letter carefully and looked at Philip. He knew about the IVF. Camilla might have told him, he admitted. She thought he deserved to know he's going to be an uncle, even if he never meets the baby. My phone lit up with breaking news. Local businesswoman pleads guilty to multiple fraud charges. Then a voicemail from Mom, using another new number. This family is done, destroyed, unless you save it, unless you tell them it was all a misunderstanding. Please, Madison, please fix this. I deleted it without listening to the end. You okay? Philip asked softly. I looked out at the ocean, then down at my still flat stomach where my future was growing. They're facing the consequences of their choices, just like I face the consequences of mine. The difference is, he said, your consequences created new life. Theirs destroyed everything they had. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from Tessa. Your mum's going away for at least 5 years. Your dad's probably getting probation. The karma is chef's kiss. I turned off my phone and leaned back in my chair, letting the ocean breeze wash over me. Somewhere in the distance, a seagull called out, free, unfettered, soaring. Want to get dinner? Philip asked. I smiled, standing up. Yes, let's celebrate. The arrests? No, I said, touching my stomach gently. The future. The morning sickness hit as I sat in my lawyer's office staring at the final settlement papers. My mother's conviction had triggered a cascade of civil suits, and now everyone wanted their piece of the fallen empire. You don't have to sign, Sarah, my attorney, said. You could fight for more. I shook my head, pushing away the ginger tea Philip had brought. I want it done. Let them divide up whatever's left. Your father's lawyer called again, she continued. He's still hoping you'll speak at your mother's sentencing hearing next week. No, I signed the last paper with a flourish. I've said everything I need to say through these documents. My phone buzzed. A text from Camilla. Jacoby completed his rehab program, actually got a job. You were right, hitting rock bottom worked. Good for him, I typed back, meaning it. Sarah gathered the papers, pausing at the last one. You're sure about removing yourself from the family trust? There's still considerable property value there. I'm sure, I stood up, smoothing my dress over my small but visible bump. I don't want anything that ties me to them anymore. Philip waited outside in his car, ready for our next appointment. As we drove to the clinic for my 12-week scan, he glanced at me. How do you feel? Free, I said simply. Finally, completely free. My phone lit up with a news alert. Local catering families fall from grace. A timeline of fraud and betrayal. Below it was a photo of my mother being led into prison, my father walking away from reporters, and an old picture of me from the business website. They're still trying to spin it, Philip noted, making you the villain in their story. Let them, I turned off my phone. I'm done reading their versions of the truth. At the clinic, Dr. Roberts squeezed gel onto my stomach. The ultrasound screen flickered to life, and suddenly there it was, a tiny heart beating, small hands waving. "Would you like to know the gender?" she asked. I nodded, tears blurring my vision. Philip held my hand tighter. "It's a girl, a daughter, a chance to break the cycle, to show her what real love looks like. Love without conditions, without manipulation, without the weight of toxic obligation." Back home, I found a letter in my mailbox. Prison stationery. I almost threw it away, but something made me open it. "Madison, the prosecutor showed me the forged documents today, all of them. Not just your IVF fund withdrawal, but everything, going back years. I saw your signature on papers you never signed, loans you never approved, accounts you never opened. I told myself it was for family, that mothers do what they must to protect their children. But I wasn't protecting anyone. I was destroying us all. I'll be in here for 5 years. Your father's living with his sister, working as a golf instructor. Jacoby's doing better than any of us expected. And you, I saw the business announcement. Ocean View Events, San Diego's premier catering service. You're building something new, something clean, something we should have let you build here. I won't ask for forgiveness, I don't deserve it. But I want you to know, you were right to leave, right to take back what was yours, right to break free. Be better than me. Mom." I set the letter down and walked to my balcony. Below, the catering van with my new company's logo sat in the parking lot. Philip had helped me design it, waves crashing against a cliff, symbolising both destruction and rebirth. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from Jacoby. "Got my 6-month sobriety chip today, not asking for anything. Just wanted you to know." I touched my stomach, feeling my daughter move. "We're going to do things differently," I whispered to her. "No more family comes first, just love. Real, honest love." Philip appeared in the doorway. "First client meeting in an hour. Ready to show them what real catering looks like?" I smiled, thinking of all those years watching my parents cut corners, forge documents, and justify their actions with "family comes first." "More than ready," I said. "Let's build something honest." The ocean stretched out before us, endless and new. Somewhere back home, my mother sat in a cell, my father taught golf to strangers, and my brother built a life without enablers. Their choices, their consequences. And here I stood, creating something pure, something true, something worthy of the daughter growing inside me. Family might come first, but not the way they meant it, not anymore. This time, family meant building something real, something earned, something free. This time, family meant love without strings. And that was worth everything I'd left behind.
The white silk of my wedding dress feels like a straitjacket, and the chapel's stained glass casts blood-red shadows across the aisle. I should be floating on air, radiating joy, all that fairy tale nonsense. Instead, I'm scanning the faces in the pews like a soldier checking for snipers. That's when I see her. Lisa, my mother. 8 years of silence shattered by her uninvited presence in the back row. "Ava," James whispers beside me, his hand tightening around mine. "You okay?" I force my lips into what I hope passes for a smile. Perfect. The minister drones on about sacred unions and eternal love, but all I can focus on is her face. Older now, but still wearing that practiced look of innocence that fooled so many people for so long, including me, until that night when I was 16 and came home to find her gone, along with our savings and my college fund. Derek's there too, of course, her latest husband sitting next to her with his perfectly tailored suit and shark smile. Behind them, Madison, my half-sister, who got to keep her mother while I lost mine, stares at her phone, probably documenting my special day for her social media followers. If anyone knows any reason why these two should not be joined in holy matrimony, my heart stops. This would be exactly her style, turning my wedding into her stage. But she stays quiet, for now. The ceremony continues, and I say my vows on autopilot, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. James beams at me, completely oblivious to the storm brewing in the back of the church. My Uncle Michael, standing in as father of the bride, keeps shooting worried glances toward Lisa. He knows. He remembers everything. At the reception, I manage to avoid her for exactly 43 minutes before she corners me near the bathroom. "My beautiful girl," she says, reaching for my face. I step back, bumping into the wall. "I've missed you so much." Funny way of showing it. My voice comes out steady, practiced. I've rehearsed this moment countless times in my head. I know I made mistakes. Mistakes? I cut her off. Is that what we're calling abandonment these days? Her eyes well up with tears. They look genuine, but I learned long ago that everything about Lisa Thompson is carefully crafted for maximum effect. "I was sick, Eva. The addiction. Save it for your next mark." I move to push past her, but she grabs my arm. "We need your help," she whispers urgently. "Derek's business. There are some problems. Just a temporary loan." A laugh bubbles up from my chest, sharp and bitter. There it is, 8 years of nothing, and you show up at my wedding asking for money? "It's not like that. Everything okay here?" James appears at my side, all concerned husband and protective smiles. "Fine," I say, extracting myself from Lisa's grip. "My mother was just leaving." "Eva, please." But I'm already walking away, James's arm around my waist, steadying me. We make it halfway across the reception hall before Derek intercepts us. "Quite a success story you've become," he says smoothly. "Senior analyst at Bennett Enterprises, Sophie Bennett's protege. Must be nice, having everything handed to you." The threat in his words is subtle, but clear. He knows something, or thinks he does, about my position at Bennett. "Nothing was handed to me," I reply. "Unlike some people, I actually earned my place." His smile doesn't waver, but his eyes harden. "We should catch up sometime. Family dinner, perhaps? There's so much to discuss." As he walks away, James squeezes my hand. "Who was that?" I watch Derek rejoin Lisa and Madison, their perfect little family unit. "Nobody important," I lie. "Just someone who's about to learn a very expensive lesson about karma." The crystal champagne glass in my hand threatens to crack under my grip. 8 years I've spent building myself up from nothing, creating a life they can't touch. If they think they can waltz back in and tear it all down, they're about to discover exactly how much I learned from Lisa's masterclass in manipulation. Game on, mother. Game on. The honeymoon photos mock me from my desk. James and I smiling on sun-drenched beaches, pretending the world hasn't tilted off its axis. 3 weeks of paradise, and now I'm back at Bennett Enterprises, staring at an email that makes my stomach turn. "Did you see this?" Karen appears at my cubicle, waving her phone. "Derek Lawson just got appointed as external financial consultant." My coffee cup freezes halfway to my lips. "What?" "Sophie announced it this morning. Apparently he's some hotshot from Morgan Stanley." She leans closer, lowering her voice. "Isn't he your stepfather?" I cut her off. "As of 8 years ago." The office suddenly feels too small, too exposed. I pull up the company-wide announcement, scanning the details. Derek's smug corporate headshot stares back at me, his credentials listed like battle honors. My phone buzzes, a text from Lisa. "Isn't it wonderful? Now we can be a proper family again." I delete it without responding. "Ava?" Sophie Bennett's voice makes me jump. She stands in her signature power suit, radiating authority. Got a minute? In her corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows frame the city skyline. She settles behind her desk, studying me with those razor-sharp eyes that missed nothing during my meteoric rise from intern to senior analyst. "Derek Lawson speaks highly of you," she says. "Does he?" "Says you're brilliant, driven." She pauses. "Family." "Former family," I correct her. "We're not close." "Shame. Family connections can be invaluable in this business." She slides a folder across her desk. "I'm putting you two on the Meridian merger. It's a career maker, Ava. 8 figures minimum." My throat tightens. "Sophie, I don't think..." "Is there a problem?" "Yes," I want to scream. "He's a snake. He's using you. He's here to destroy everything I've built." Instead, I smile. "No problem at all." Later, in the parking garage, I find him waiting by my car. "Quite the coincidence," I say, gripping my keys like brass knuckles. "Hardly." Derek straightens his Italian silk tie. "You've made quite a name for yourself here. The golden child, Sophie's protege." His smile doesn't reach his eyes. "Your mother's so proud." "What do you want?" "Want? I'm here to work, same as you." He steps closer. "Though I did notice some irregularities in the quarterly reports you prepared. Nothing major, yet." Ice spreads through my veins. "Are you threatening me?" "Threatening? No. Just looking out for family." He produces a business card. "Have dinner with us tonight. Lisa's cooking. We can discuss your future at Bennett." I stare at the card until it blurs. And if I refuse? Then I might have to take a closer look at those reports. Mistakes happen after all, especially when someone's risen so quickly, perhaps, cutting corners along the way. My phone rings. James, probably wondering why I'm late. I let it go to voicemail. 7 o'clock, Derek says, turning away. "Don't be late. Family dinner waits for no one." I wait until he's gone before calling Michael. "They're back," I say when he answers, "and they're not just asking for money anymore." My uncle's silence speaks volumes. Finally, "What do you need?" "Remember those papers Mom left behind? The ones you said I wasn't ready to see?" "Eva, I'm ready now." Another pause. "Come over. There's something you need to know about the night she left." I end the call, my reflection in the car window looking stranger by the second. 8 years ago, I was a scared teenager watching my world implode. Now I'm a weapon, honed by abandonment and betrayal. My phone buzzes again. Another text from Lisa. "Made your favorite pot roast, just like old times." Old times. Like when she cleaned out my college fund for Derek's investment opportunity, or when she disappeared while I was at soccer practice, leaving nothing but a note saying she needed to find herself. I start my car, decision made. Let them think they have me cornered. Let them believe I'm that same vulnerable girl they can manipulate and discard. I've learned a few things about power plays and leverage since then, and by the time this game is over, they'll wish they'd never heard the name Bennett Enterprises, or mine. Uncle Michael's basement smells like old paper and regret. He spreads documents across his workbench while I pace, my heels clicking against concrete. "Your mother wasn't just an addict," he says, hands trembling as he sorts through yellowed papers. "She was a witness." The words hit like a slap. A witness to what? Financial fraud at her old firm. He pulls out a thick manila envelope. Derek wasn't just her rehab romance. He was handling the cover-up. My world tilts sideways. "And you're just telling me this now?" "I tried to protect you." He won't meet my eyes. "The less you knew, the safer I was?" I snatch the envelope. Inside, bank statements show transfers, hundreds of thousands flowing through shell companies. This is why she left? Derek convinced her to take the fall, said he'd take care of her. Michael's laugh is bitter. Instead, he used the evidence to control her, keep her close. My phone buzzes, a text from James. Working late again? I ignore it, studying a familiar signature on one of the documents. Sophie Bennett signed off on these transfers. Michael goes still. Eva, she knew, all this time. The pieces click into place. My miraculous hire straight out of college, my rapid promotions. I wasn't her protege. I was insurance. The basement suddenly feels like a tomb. I stuff the papers into my bag, already moving toward the stairs. Where are you going? Family dinner, I say. Wouldn't want to keep them waiting. Lisa's house is exactly what you'd expect. All nouveau riche pretension and desperate attempts at elegance. Madison opens the door, her teenager's disdain barely masking curiosity. Mom's in the kitchen, she says, having one of her moments. I find Lisa clutching a wine glass, mascara smeared. Ava, you came. She moves to hug me, but I step back. Where's Derek? Working late, always working. She giggles, unsteady. But we can have girl time? Like before you abandoned me? The words slice through her artificial cheer. Or before you let Derek use you to cover up his fraud. The wine glass slips from her hand, shattering. Madison appears in the doorway, eyes wide. You don't understand, Lisa whispers. He said he'd protect us. He protected himself, used you as a patsy, then kept the evidence to keep you in line. I pull out the documents. Just like he's trying to do to me at Bennett. Madison moves closer, reading over my shoulder. Mom, what is this? Nothing, sweetie. Adult things. Stop lying, I snap. For once in your life, tell the truth. Lisa crumples into a kitchen chair. Derek said if I played along, we'd be set for life. But then the demands kept coming. More money, more cover-ups. And Sophie Bennett? Was she part of it? She knew about everything. Lisa's laugh is hollow. Why do you think she hired you? Madison grabs the papers, face hardening as she reads. These dates. This was right before you sent me to boarding school. Maddie, please. You said we couldn't afford for me to stay home, but you were moving millions? The front door opens. Derek's voice carries from the foyer. Something smells fantastic. Lisa freezes. Madison shoves the papers back at me, eyes blazing. Do it, she whispers. Take him down. I stuff the evidence away as Derek enters, all corporate charm and calculated warmth. Eva, and here I thought you'd skip our little reunion. Wouldn't dream of it. I smile, channeling 8 years of rage into something sharper. We have so much to discuss. He pauses, noting Lisa's tears, Madison's glare, the broken glass. His mask slips for just a moment, revealing something cold and calculating. Indeed we do. He straightens his tie, a tell I remember from childhood when he was about to deliver bad news. In fact, I just finished reviewing those reports I mentioned. Found some very interesting discrepancies. Funny, I say. So did I. We stare each other down across Lisa's pristine kitchen, the air thick with unspoken threats. Madison slides closer to me, a silent allegiance shift that doesn't go unnoticed. Careful, Ava, Derek says softly. Some games are too dangerous to play. Good thing I learned from the best. I head for the door, pausing beside him. By the way, Sophie sends her regards. His sharp intake of breath is all the confirmation I need. The game isn't just dangerous anymore, it's lethal. Karen's apartment feels like neutral territory at 3 a.m. Empty wine bottles litter her coffee table while I spread out Uncle Michael's documents like battlefield maps. So, Sophie Bennett hired you to keep tabs on Derek, Karen says, highlighting another suspicious transaction. But who's keeping tabs on Sophie? My wedding ring catches the lamplight as I reach for more papers. James hasn't asked where I've been these past nights. Maybe he doesn't want to know. Madison sent me more files, I say, unlocking my phone. Apparently, Derek's not as careful with his passwords at home. Your teenage sister is hacking your stepfather's computer? Karen arches an eyebrow. That's either brilliant or terrifying. Both. I pull up the emails Madison forwarded. Look at these dates. The week Mom left, there were 3 transfers to offshore accounts. But the signatures? Karen leans closer. That's not Derek's. It's Sophie's. My hands shake as I match the signatures. She wasn't just covering for him. She was profiting. My phone buzzes. A text from Madison. Dad's meeting Sophie tomorrow night. Overheard him talking. The Golden Crown Hotel, 8 p.m. Another buzz. James, coming to bed tonight? I silence the phone. Eva. Karen's voice has that careful tone friends use before delivering uncomfortable truths. What happens when this all comes out? To your job? Your marriage? Before I can answer, there's a knock at the door. We freeze, sharing a panicked look. It's past 3. No one should be here. Karen peers through the peephole, then steps back like she's been burned. It's your mother. Lisa stands in the hallway, mascara streaked down her face. I know what you're planning, she says when I open the door. Derek will destroy you. Like he destroyed you? She flinches. You don't understand. Sophie, she's not what you think. None of this is what you think. Then enlighten me. I can't. Her hands twist together, a nervous habit I'd forgotten. But please, Eva, stop digging, for your own sake. My sake? I laugh, the sound sharp enough to cut. Where was this maternal concern when you cleaned out my college fund? When you left me with nothing but a post-it note goodbye? I left you with Michael because he could protect you. She's crying now, mascara running darker. Derek had evidence that could have sent me to prison. Sophie offered a deal, my silence for your future. Karen shifts behind me, a silent witness to our family's implosion. What evidence? I demand. Ask your uncle. Lisa wipes her eyes, leaving black smears. Ask him about the night of the audit, about what really happened to those missing files. My stomach drops. Uncle Michael wasn't involved? Everyone was involved, Eva. That's how they keep us quiet. We all have something to lose. She reaches for my hand, but I pull back. Please, don't make the same mistakes I did. After she leaves, Karen and I stare at the documents scattered across her floor. They don't look like justice anymore. They look like ammunition in a war I didn't know I was fighting. My phone lights up. Another text from Madison. Dad's deleting files. Lots of them. Something about Bennett Enterprises' quarterly audit. Then James. Should I be worried? And finally, Sophie. My office 7 a.m. tomorrow. We need to discuss your future with the company. What are you going to do? Karen asks. I gather the papers, my mind racing through scenarios like chess moves. Uncle Michael's involvement changes everything. Or maybe it changes nothing. Maybe this was always going to end in scorched earth and broken families. I'm going to that hotel tomorrow night, I say, and I'm going to record every word Derek and Sophie say. Eva, but first, I continue, pulling out my laptop, I'm going to make copies of everything, send them to every news outlet and regulatory agency I can find. That's suicide, career-wise at least. Maybe. I start typing, my fingers steady despite everything. But I learned from the best. You don't just plan revenge, you plan for every possible way it can backfire. Karen watches me work, her expression caught between admiration and fear. And James, your marriage? I pause, wedding ring suddenly heavy on my finger. Some things break no matter how carefully you hold them. The sun is rising by the time I finish, casting long shadows across Karen's apartment. They look like prison bars, Or maybe that's just my guilty conscience talking. Either way, by this time tomorrow, everyone's carefully constructed lies will be exposed to the light, including mine. The Golden Crown Hotel's bar feels like a trap, but I'm the one who said it. I nurse a martini, watching Derek and Sophie through the reflection in my phone screen as they settle into a corner booth. The recording app blinks steadily, catching every word. The board meeting's been moved up, Sophie says, her voice carrying just enough. We need to accelerate the timeline. Derek's response is lost in the ambient noise, but his expression tells enough. Barely contained panic beneath that polished exterior. My phone vibrates. Madison, Mom found the copied files. She's freaking out. Then immediately after, she's calling Uncle Michael. My hands start to shake. This wasn't part of the plan. Miss Thompson? A server appears at my elbow. Phone call for you at the front desk. I know before I answer. Ava. Michael's voice is tight with fury. What have you done? What you should have done years ago. You have no idea what you're playing with. Where are you? I hang up, but the damage is done. In the corner booth, Derek is staring directly at me, his face a mask of calculated consideration. He whispers something to Sophie, who turns. Their eyes lock onto me like crosshairs. My phone buzzes again. James this time. We need to talk. I found the divorce papers in your desk. The walls start closing in. I head for the exit, but Sophie intercepts me near the lobby. You really are your mother's daughter, she says, voice dripping with false concern, so quick to burn everything down without understanding the full picture. I understand enough. Do you? She steps closer. Did you know your uncle was the one who suggested using Lisa as the scapegoat? That he orchestrated her addiction to make her more controllable? The floor seems to tilt. You're lying. Am I? Ask him about the prescription pads, about the doctors he paid off. Her smile is razor sharp. We all make choices, Eva. Your mother chose drugs over you because Michael made sure that was her only escape. Ava, Derek's voice cuts through the lobby. He's approaching fast, phone in hand. I run. The night air hits like a slap. I make it 3 blocks before ducking into an alley, trying to breathe through the panic. My phone won't stop buzzing. Madison. Dad's calling the police. Karen, your office is being searched. James. Please come home. We can fix this. Michael. You're making it worse. Lisa, I'm so sorry, baby. The last one breaks something inside me. I dial Karen. They're moving the evidence, I say when she answers. All of it, tonight. Ava, stop. You need to think. I am thinking. For the first time, I'm seeing everything clearly. I start walking, purpose replacing panic. Remember that contingency plan we discussed? Silence. Then, the nuclear option? Eva, that'll destroy everyone, including you. They destroyed me 8 years ago. I'm just returning the favor. I end the call and open my email. The draft is already prepared. Every document, every recording, every piece of evidence sent to journalists, federal investigators, and the board of directors. One button and it all burns down. My finger hovers over send when another text appears. Madison. I found something else, something worse. Meet me at the office. I stare at the message, remembering Sophie's words about choices and consequences, about being my mother's daughter. The office building is dark when I arrive, but Madison's waiting in the lobby. She looks smaller somehow, more vulnerable than her usual teenage bravado. Before I show you, she says, you have to promise me something. What? Promise you won't let Dad hurt Mom again, no matter what's on these files. My throat tightens. Madison, promise me. Her voice cracks. Because after you see this, everything changes. And I need to know someone's going to protect her this time. I think about Lisa's tear-stained face in Karen's hallway, about Michael's betrayal, about James finding divorce papers I don't remember drafting. I promise. Madison hands me a USB drive, her hands trembling. Dad wasn't just embezzling money, he was laundering it for people who... She swallows hard. People who make problems disappear. The elevator dings behind us. We both turn to see Derek step out, flanked by two men I don't recognize. "Madison," he says softly, "go wait in the car." She grabs my hand, squeezing once before letting go. A warning, a goodbye, a choice. I grip the USB drive tighter and reach for my phone. Time to see who burns first. The Bennett Enterprises annual gala feels like a funeral where everyone's still pretending to smile. I watch from the mezzanine as Derek works the room below, champagne in hand, playing the charming new consultant while his men search my office 17 floors up. The USB drive burns in my clutch bag. One copy uploaded, one held back, insurance against whatever comes next. Quite the turnout. Sophie appears beside me, elegant in black. "Shame it has to end this way." "Does it? You made your choice when you sent those files to the FBI?" She sips her champagne, though I admit I'm curious which version they received. My phone vibrates. "Madison, Mom's gone. The house is empty." Then Karen, "James is here, looking for you." "You know what fascinates me about you, Ava?" Sophie continues. "You're so focused on revenge, you never asked why I really hired you." The pieces click together too late. Below, I spot James entering the ballroom, followed by Uncle Michael. The trap closes like a noose. "Because I wasn't the target," I say. "I was the bait. Smart girl, always were." Sophie's smile turns predatory. "Your mother wasn't the only one Derek betrayed 8 years ago, but she was the only one stupid enough to leave a paper trail." The ballroom spins slightly. The money laundering? Among other things, we needed someone close to him, someone with the right motivation for revenge. She gestures at the crowd below. Someone who could get him to expose himself without realizing he was being played. My phone buzzes again, an unknown number. "Your mother is safe, for now." "Where is she?" My voice cracks. "Consider her insurance against whatever else you might have planned." Sophie takes my clutch, removes the USB drive. "You've served your purpose, Ava. Don't ruin it by trying to be a hero." Below, Derek spots me. Our eyes meet across the crowded room. He smiles and raises his glass in a mock toast. "Ladies and gentlemen," his voice carries over the crowd, "if I could have your attention." "Right on schedule," Sophie murmurs. Derek approaches the podium, straightening his tie. As many of you know, Bennett Enterprises has been like family to me these past months, which makes this next announcement particularly difficult. My heart pounds as he pulls out a folder. It seems we've discovered some concerning irregularities in our financial records, specifically unauthorized transfers and manipulated audit reports. He pauses for effect, all traced back to one individual. The crowd murmurs. James looks up, finding me on the mezzanine. His face shows nothing but disappointment. "Ava Thompson," Derek continues, "would you join me down here?" Sophie's hand clamps around my arm. "Play your part," she whispers, "or Lisa pays the price." The walk down the stairs feels endless. Every face turns to watch. Every whisper carries judgment. 8 years of building myself up, reduced to ashes in 8 seconds. "Ava has been with us for 3 years, Derek says, voice heavy with false regret. Rising quickly through the ranks, perhaps too quickly. He hands me the folder. Inside, perfect forgeries of my signature on dozens of fraudulent documents. My own revenge plot, twisted and turned back on me. "Would you like to explain yourself?" Derek asks. Or shall I? The room blurs. Through the crowd, I see Uncle Michael slip away, phone to his ear. James won't meet my eyes. Somewhere upstairs, Derek's men are probably planting more evidence in my office. My phone buzzes one last time. Madison. Found Mom. Warehouse District. Hurry. Well? Derek prompts. I look up at Sophie, still watching from the mezzanine. At James, already turning away. At the career I built, the revenge I planned, the life I thought I could protect. All of it crumbling like sand. But Madison's text blinks on my phone screen. A choice, a chance. I step up to the microphone. You're right, I say, voice steady. I did manipulate the records. Derek's triumph shows for just a second. I did it to expose something much bigger. I pull out my phone, thumb hovering over send. Would you like to explain yourself, Derek? Or shall I? His smile freezes. In the crowd, James finally looks at me, really looks at me, and something like understanding crosses his face. Sometimes, I realize, you have to lose everything to find out what you're really fighting for. I press send, let it burn. The warehouse district feels like a graveyard at midnight. Rain slicks the pavement as I follow Madison's coordinates, the gala's chaos still echoing in my head. Police sirens wail in the distance, Derek's empire crumbling in real time as my evidence spreads like wildfire. I find Lisa in the third building, handcuffed to a pipe. Her mascara-stained face jerks up at my footsteps. Ava? Her voice cracks. You shouldn't be here. Neither should you. I move to unlock the cuffs, but her next words freeze me. Sophie's men are coming. You need to go. Sophie's men? The pieces shift again. Not Derek's? A slow clap echoes through the warehouse. Sophie emerges from the shadows, still wearing her gala dress. Predictable to the end, she says, just like your mother. Movement behind me, 2 men blocking the exit. Through the high windows, I see more figures circling the building. You played us both, I say, Derek and me. I played everyone. Sophie's heels click against concrete as she approaches. Derek was useful until he got greedy. You were useful until you got righteous. And Lisa? She glances at my mother. She was useful until she grew a conscience 8 years ago and threatened to expose everything. The money laundering wasn't Derek's operation, Lisa says quietly. It was hers, always was. My phone buzzes. Madison. Police coming. 2 minutes. You know what your problem is, Eva? Sophie continues. You thought this was about family, about revenge. It was always about power. She pulls out a gun, and powerful people protect their interests. Ava, run! Lisa struggles against the handcuffs, but I stand my ground. Check your phone, Sophie. Excuse me? The evidence I sent, it wasn't just about Derek. Check your phone. She doesn't, but I see the first flicker of uncertainty. Right now, every financial regulator, federal agent, and news outlet is receiving 8 years of transaction records, not Derek's records. I take a step forward. Yours. You're bluffing. Madison's been in your system for weeks. While you were so focused on manipulating me, a teenager cracked your empire wide open. Sirens grow closer. Sophie's men shift nervously. Even if that's true, Sophie raises the gun. Dead whistleblowers tell no tales, but their dead man switches do. I pull out my phone, show her the screen. 1 button, Sophie. 1 button and every dirty secret you buried goes straight to Interpol. You'd destroy yourself too. Your career, your reputation, already destroyed. I laugh, and it sounds like breaking glass. You taught me that, remember? Sometimes you have to burn everything down to build something new. The warehouse doors burst open, but it's not the police. It's Derek. Sorry I'm late. He's disheveled. desperate. Traffic was murder, what with all those federal agents at the gala. Derek, Sophie warns, don't. Shut up. He pulls out his own gun. 8 years I cleaned up your messes, kept your secrets, and you were going to pin it all on me? The student becomes the master, I say quietly. Sophie's composure cracks. You orchestrated this, all of it. No, I move toward Lisa, keeping my movement slow. You did. You all did. I reach my mother, start working on her cuffs. I just stopped playing by your rules. Police sirens scream outside. Flashlights sweep the windows. This is the FBI. Building is surrounded. Derek laughs, a broken, hollow sound. Well played, kid. Well played. Sophie turns the gun on him. He keeps his trained on her. They're both so focused on each other, they don't see Lisa slip free of the cuffs. They don't see her tackle Sophie as the FBI breaches the door. They don't see me hit the dead man's switch anyway, because some fires need to burn everything. Later, as federal agents lead everyone away, Madison finds me sitting on the warehouse steps. Mom okay? She asks, being checked out by paramedics. I stare at my phone, dozens of missed calls from James, Karen, Michael. You? Better than them. She nods at Sophie and Derek in handcuffs. Was it worth it? I think about revenge, about justice, about the cost of both, about family, the one that abandoned me, the one that betrayed me, and the sister who helped me burn it all down. Ask me tomorrow, I say. The sun rises over Bennett Enterprises' smoldering ruins, and for the first time in 8 years, I feel clean. The federal courthouse steps feel colder than they should in summer. I watch Sophie and Derek being led out in handcuffs, their empire reduced to headlines and case numbers. Madison stands beside me, her hand finding mine as her father passes. He doesn't look our way. Ready? She asks. I'm not, but I nod anyway. Inside, Uncle Michael waits in an interview room, looking older than I've ever seen him. The federal agents left us alone after he agreed to testify about the prescription pads, about his role in Lisa's addiction. I thought I was protecting you, he says before I can speak. Everything I did was for my own good. The words taste like ash. That's what Mom said too. He flinches. Ava, I found the original prescriptions. I slide them across the table. The ones you wrote before Derek got involved, before Sophie, before everything. His hands shake as he touches the papers. I was trying to help her cope after your father died. She was spiraling. So you decided to control her spiral? The rage feels different now, colder, cleaner. Make it manageable? I loved you both. Love shouldn't leave scars. Madison squeezes my hand. I'd almost forgotten she was there, watching her family's destruction mirror my own. The prosecutors offered me a deal, Michael says. Full immunity if I testify against Sophie's entire operation. Take it. I stand up. Consider it your last act of protection. In the hallway, Karen waits with coffee and courthouse gossip. Lisa's testimony sealed it, she says. Sophie's looking at 20 years minimum. And Derek? 15 unless he flips on his overseas contacts. She studies my face. James called again. The wedding ring feels heavy on my finger. I know. He still loves you. Sometimes love isn't enough. We exit into sunlight that feels too bright for funeral weather, because that's what this is. A funeral for the family I thought I wanted, the revenge I thought I needed, the person I used to be. Lisa sits on a nearby bench, looking small without her designer armor. When she sees us, she stands. The rehab center has an opening, she says. Real one this time, no strings. Good, I mean it. Ava, don't. The word comes out gentler than I expected. Not yet. She nods, understanding what I can't say. That forgiveness, like revenge, has its own timeline. Madison releases my hand. I should go with her. Make sure. I know. I hug her. My sister, my conscience, my unexpected ally in burning down our shared heritage. Call me when you're settled. Someone has to keep you honest. She manages a smile. Try not to destroy any more corporations while I'm gone. The joke lands wrong, but we pretend it doesn't. Karen touches my arm. Your place or mine? Neither. I check my phone. One last message from James. When you're ready. But I'm not ready. Not for James's forgiveness or Lisa's redemption or Michael's justifications. Not for rebuilding from ashes. I'm still creating. I need to make one more stop. Bennett Enterprises stands empty. Its windows dark. Security lets me in. They haven't changed the codes yet. My office is exactly as I left it the night of the gala, except for one thing. On my desk sits a single envelope. Inside, a key and a note in Sophie's handwriting. For when you realize power and revenge are the same thing, the position is yours if you want it. S. I think about 8 years of pain, of choices made by others, of protection that felt like prison, about Madison finding her strength, Lisa finding her voice, James finding his limits, about Sophie teaching her final lesson from behind bars. The key feels warm in my palm, a door to another version of myself, another cycle of power and revenge. I leave it on the desk. Outside, Karen waits in her car. Where to? I look at the building one last time, at all it represents: ambition, corruption, the seductive pull of justified vengeance. Anywhere, I say, as long as it's forward. She starts the engine, and we drive away from the wreckage of my carefully planned revenge toward something that feels less like victory and more like freedom. Some fires don't need to be rebuilt from. Some just need to be left behind.
I grip the edge of the mahogany dining table, my knuckles turning white as Mother's voice slices through the restaurant's gentle ambiance. You're throwing your life away, Alexa, just like everything else you've touched. My name is Alexa, and this is the moment I decided my mother needed to pay for 23 years of calculated cruelty. The other diners pretend not to stare, but I catch their furtive glances. My father, Derek, shifts uncomfortably in his chair while my stepfather, Marcus, studies his wineglass with sudden fascination. Only my 5-year-old sister, Sophie, continues eating her pasta, oblivious to the tension crackling through the air. I got promoted to senior analyst, I say, keeping my voice steady. Most people would consider that an achievement. Mother's perfectly painted lips curl into a familiar sneer. Achievement? Working 60 hours a week for what? To live in that shabby apartment when you could be following Marcus's investment strategy? Rebecca, my father warns, but she waves him off like an irritating fly. You've always been determined to disappoint me. She takes a deliberate sip of her wine. Remember when you chose that state university over Princeton? Another stellar decision. The memory of that fight resurfaces. Her throwing my acceptance letter in my face, screaming about family legacy while I packed my bags. I'd chosen freedom over her suffocating expectations, and she's never forgiven me. I'm doing fine, Mother. More than fine, actually. Fine, she laughs, the sound sharp as breaking glass. Is that what you tell yourself? While your sister is already in advanced placement at 5, you're still fumbling around trying to find yourself. Sophie looks up at the mention of her name, marinara sauce smeared across her chin. Mother immediately softens, reaching over to dab her face with a napkin. Careful, sweetheart. This is why we always wear our special eating clothes, remember? The contrast in her tone makes my stomach turn. I've never heard that gentleness directed at me, not once in 23 years. Rebecca, that's enough. Marcus finally intervenes, his hand covering hers. This is supposed to be a celebration. Oh yes, let's celebrate mediocrity, she replies, but lowers her voice to a venomous whisper. You know what your problem is, Alexa. You've always been jealous of the attention Sophie gets. It's pathetic, really. a grown woman envying a child. Something snaps inside me. Years of carefully contained rage bubble to the surface as I stand, my chair scraping against the floor. The only pathetic thing here is watching you try to recreate your perfect family with Sophie because you failed so miserably with me. Mother's face flushes red. How dare you? No, how dare you? I grab my purse, hands shaking. You've spent my entire life trying to mold me into your mini-me, and when that failed, you replaced me with a newer model. Well, congratulations. Sophie's everything you wanted. But remember this, she'll grow up too, and eventually she'll see you for what you really are. I turn to leave but pause, delivering one final blow. By the way, that promotion comes with a corner office, higher up than Marcus ever got at that firm. The silence that follows me out is deafening. As I step into the cool evening air, my phone buzzes with messages. Probably my father trying to smooth things over, like always. I delete them without reading. Walking to my car, I realize something has fundamentally shifted. The hurt little girl who desperately sought her mother's approval is gone. In her place stands someone stronger, someone who's finally seen the truth. Some mothers don't deserve forgiveness. I start my engine, a plan already forming in my mind. Mother always taught me that appearance is everything. Time to show her just how well I learned that lesson. The next morning, I find myself standing in front of my childhood home, the mansion's pristine facade mocking everything broken inside. Through the window, I watch Sophie twirling in her ballet outfit, while Mother adjusts her hair with the tenderness she never showed me. Lily's voice crackles through my phone. You shouldn't torture yourself like this. I'm not torturing myself, I'm gathering intelligence. I snap a few photos of Mother fussing over Sophie's perfect bun. Did you find anything in those financial records? About that. Lily hesitates. Marcus's company had some interesting transactions last quarter. Large sums moving through shell corporations. Your mother's fingerprints are all over it. A car door slams behind me. I whirl around to find my father approaching, his face etched with concern. I'll call you back, I tell Lily, hanging up. Spying on the enemy? Derek asks, attempting humour but failing. Just observing the golden child's morning routine. The bitterness in my voice surprises even me. He sighs, running a hand through his greying hair. Your mother called me 6 times last night. She's worried about your emotional state. My emotional state? I laugh sharply. That's rich coming from someone who threw a crystal vase at the wall when Sophie got a B+ in kindergarten math. Alexa, don't defend her, Dad. Not after everything. The front door opens, and Sophie bursts out, followed by Mother in her designer workout wear. She freezes when she sees us, her perfectly composed mask slipping for just a second. Derek, what are you doing here? Her eyes narrow at me. And Alexa, how unexpected. Sophie runs to me, wrapping her arms around my waist. Lexa, are you coming to my recital? Before I can answer, Mother cuts in. Darling, we're running late for practice. Say goodbye to your sister. But Mom? Now, Sophie. I watch my sister's shoulders slump as she obeys, climbing into the Range Rover. Mother pauses before following, her voice dropping to that deadly quiet tone I know too well. If you're here to apologise for last night's embarrassing display, I suggest you do it properly. At the charity gala this weekend, the board members will be there, and it would look better if we presented a united front. Of course, everything's about appearances. Actually, I say, matching her tone, I came to drop off some paperwork. Marcus asked me to review those offshore account statements. Something about irregularities? The colour drains from her face. I don't know what you're talking about. No, that's odd because his signature's on all of them, right next to yours. Dad steps between us. This isn't the time or place. It never is it? I turn to him. How long have you known about the money laundering, Dad? Or did you just look the other way like you always do? Mother's mask cracks completely. You vindictive little... Rebecca! Marcus appears in the doorway, his usual smooth demeanour ruffled. We need to leave. Now. She composes herself with visible effort, smoothing her yoga pants. We'll discuss this later, Alexa, preferably when you're thinking more clearly. I watch them drive away, Sophie's small face pressed against the window. Dad touches my shoulder. Whatever you're planning, be careful. Your mother is more vulnerable than she looks. I finish. I know exactly what I'm doing. That's what worries me. He studies me with sad eyes. You're starting to sound just like her. The words hit harder than he probably intended. I shake off his hand, already pulling up Lily's number again. I have to go. Some of us actually work for a living. Alexa, wait. But I'm already walking away, my mind racing with possibilities. Mother thinks she can control the narrative. Fine. Let her try. Because while she's busy maintaining her perfect facade, I'll be dismantling it piece by piece, starting with those offshore accounts. Behind me, I hear Dad calling my name, but I don't look back, can't look back. Because if I do, I might remember the little girl who once believed in happy endings. And that girl has no place in what comes next. The charity gala sparkles with fake smiles and designer gowns, but I'm focused on the USB drive burning a hole in my clutch. 3 hours of hacking into Marcus's private server revealed enough dirt to bury them both. You're sure about this? Ryan squeezes my hand as we navigate through the crowd. Once you start this, they started it. I spot Mother holding court near the champagne fountain, Sophie perched on her hip like a perfect accessory. 23 years ago, the ballroom of the Riverside Country Club drips with old money and new secrets. I recognize half the faces from Mother's dinner parties, the same people who watched her tear me down year after year, sipping their wine and pretending not to notice. Alexa. Marcus intercepts us, his smile tight. A word? Ryan starts to protest, but I shake my head. It's fine. I'll catch up. Marcus leads me to a quiet corner, checking over his shoulder. Whatever game you're playing needs to stop now. Game? I thought we were discussing those interesting transfers to the Cayman Islands. His facade cracks. Your mother is stealing from your company to fund her lifestyle? I pull out my phone, showing him the transaction records. Or did you know about that? You have no idea what you're dealing with. Actually, I do. See those board members by the bar? I nod toward a group of elderly men. They'd be very interested in these numbers, especially since they match the exact amount missing from the pension fund. The colour drains from his face. You wouldn't. Try me. A commotion draws our attention. Mother stands at the centre of the room, champagne glass raised. If I could have everyone's attention, Sophie has prepared a special performance. The crowd coos as my sister steps forward in her miniature ballet outfit. I move closer, watching Mother's triumphant expression. Before we begin, she continues, I'd like to thank everyone for supporting our foundation, especially since recent events have brought certain family matters to light. Her eyes find mine. My eldest daughter, for instance, has been struggling with some emotional difficulties, but we're getting her the help she needs. The room goes silent. Ryan appears at my side, but I barely notice. What are you doing? I hiss. Damage control, darling. Her smile never wavers. We can't have you spreading nasty rumors about the family, can we? You mean the truth? The truth? She laughs delicately. About how you've been obsessing over childhood slights, fabricating stories about financial impropriety. I feel the room turning against me, whispers spreading like poison. Show them the records, I tell Marcus. Tell them what she's been doing. But he steps back, shaking his head. I think you should leave, Alexa, before this gets worse. That's when I see it, the slight tremor in Mother's hand, the way Marcus won't meet my eyes. They planned this, knew I was coming for them, and set the perfect trap. Sophie starts to cry, confused by the tension. Mother pulls her close, playing the protective parent perfectly. Shh, sweetheart, your sister's just having one of her episodes. Episodes? My laugh sounds unhinged even to me. That's rich coming from someone who threw me down the stairs when I was 12 because I got blood on your white carpet. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Mother's mask slips for just a second, revealing the fury beneath. "Security?" Marcus calls quietly. "No need." I pull out the USB drive. "I'm leaving, but first, catch Mother." I toss it toward her. She fumbles, drops it into the champagne fountain, exactly as I planned. "That was your evidence?" She smirks. "How convenient. That was a decoy." I meet her eyes. "The real files went to the SEC 20 minutes ago. Check your phone." On cue, her phone buzzes, then Marcus's. Then half the room's phones light up with breaking news alerts about potential fraud at his company. "You—" Mother starts forward, but Ryan pulls me back. "Time to go," he mutters. As security approaches, I catch one last glimpse of Mother's face, pure hatred mixed with something else. Fear. Good. She should be afraid. Because this isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about justice. And I'm just getting started. The police lights flash red and blue across Mother's pristine white walls as they lead Marcus out in handcuffs. I watch from across the street, my victory turning to ash in my mouth when Sophie's screams pierce the night air. "No, don't take him." She clings to his leg while Mother stands frozen in the doorway, her perfect makeup streaking down her cheeks. My phone buzzes. Lily's text reads, "Turn on the news. Now." I don't need to. The headlines are already spreading like wildfire. Tech CEO arrested for major financial fraud. But it's the subtitle that makes my blood run cold. Investigation reveals multiple conspirators. Ryan pulls up in his car, rolling down the window. "Get in. Your father's been trying to reach you." The drive to Dad's apartment is silent until Ryan speaks. "You didn't tell me Derek was involved." He wasn't. But even as I say it, pieces start clicking into place. The way Dad always knew about Mother's spending before anyone else, his careful avoidance whenever I mentioned Marcus's company. Dad's waiting at his door, looking older than I've ever seen him. "You should have come to me first." "Why?" "So you could warn them." He pulls me inside, closing the door on Ryan. "The FBI just left. They're looking into everyone connected to Marcus's accounts." "Good." But my voice wavers. "Including the offshore trust fund in your name?" The floor seems to tilt beneath my feet. "What trust fund?" "The one your mother and I set up when we divorced." He sinks into his armchair. "The one Marcus has been using to hide money for years." "That's impossible. I never—" "You were 3. He won't meet my eyes. "Rebecca insisted. Said it was for your future, but really, it was her insurance policy. Against me. Against anyone who might threaten her lifestyle." My phone rings. Mother. When I answer, her voice is eerily calm. "Having fun destroying our family." "You did that yourself?" "Did I?" "Tell me, darling, how do you think the FBI will react when they discover your trust fund? The one that's been receiving mysterious deposits for 20 years? The room spins. You wouldn't. Wouldn't I? Sophie needs at least one parent out of prison." She pauses. "Unless we can come to an arrangement." Dad reaches for the phone, but I step back. "What kind of arrangement?" "Simple. You tell the FBI you falsified the evidence against Marcus, that your accusations were motivated by childhood resentment. Your trust fund will be proof of your instability, a desperate attempt to frame innocent people. They'll never believe. With the right lawyers, the right witnesses, you'd be amazed what people will believe." Her voice hardens. "You have 1 hour to decide. Your revenge or your freedom. Choose wisely." The line goes dead. Dad starts to speak, but I hold up my hand, remembering every perfect birthday party thrown for Sophie, every time Mother chose her over me. My phone buzzes again. Lily sending documents, bank statements, emails, a whole digital trail leading straight to my trust fund. "I can explain," Dad begins. "Save it." I head for the door. "You had 20 years to explain." Ryan's waiting in the hallway. "What are you going to do?" Through the window, I can see more police cars arriving at Mother's house. Sophie's still crying, but now Mother holds her, stroking her hair the way she never did with me. "Alexa?" I turn to Ryan, my decision crystallizing like ice. "Call your cousin at the district attorney's office. I need to make a deal." "You can't be serious." "Mother's right about one thing." I watch as the FBI enters Dad's building. Sophie needs a parent out of prison. And you're willing to sacrifice yourself? I think of Sophie's tears, of all the times I wished someone had protected me from mother's poison. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. Sometimes it's about saving someone else. The elevator dings, and federal agents step out. As they approach, I straighten my spine, channeling Mother's perfect posture one last time. Because in the end, she taught me well. Appearance is everything. And right now, I need to appear exactly guilty enough to take everyone down with me. The interrogation room feels smaller with each passing hour. I've given my statement 3 times, each version more carefully crafted than the last. The FBI agent across from me, Agent Chen, slides another document across the table. Your father's signature on the trust fund paperwork, she taps the page. And your mother's. But not Marcus's. Interesting, wouldn't you say? My hands remain steady as I push the paper back. I was 3, I don't remember any paperwork. But you remember enough to accuse your stepfather of fraud. The door opens. Lily stands there with Ryan, both looking exhausted. Your lawyer's here, Lily says. I don't need... Yes, you do. Ryan's voice carries an edge I've never heard before. They're searching your apartment right now. Agent Chen's expression doesn't change. We can continue this later. In the hallway, Lily grabs my arm. They found something in your email. Messages between you and Marcus from 6 months ago. The floor seems to tilt. That's impossible. Someone used your account. The timestamps match your mother's login patterns. Of course. Mother always did know how to play the long game. I lean against the wall, remembering all those times she borrowed my laptop, claiming hers wasn't working. There's more. Ryan won't meet my eyes. Sophie's trust fund. It's connected to yours. If one goes down, they both do. The realization hits like a physical blow. Mother's ultimate insurance policy, linking my fate to Sophie's. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. The DA's office, 1 hour. Come alone or Sophie loses everything. I need air, I tell them, heading for the stairs before they can stop me. The DA's office occupies the top floor of a glass tower. Mother stands at the window, her reflection perfectly composed despite everything. I always knew you'd try to destroy me. She doesn't turn around, but I never thought you'd be stupid enough to succeed. Where's Sophie? Safe, unlike her trust fund. Now she faces me, eyes glittering. Did you know child services gets involved when there's financial fraud? Such a shame, really. All those private school opportunities gone. My nails dig into my palms. What do you want? A confession. Written, recorded, and notarized. You orchestrated everything. The false evidence, the SEC investigation, all of it. A desperate attempt to frame your innocent parents. You mean like you framed me with those emails? Her smile is razor sharp. Prove it. My phone buzzes again. Lily sending screenshots of bank records. Something catches my eye. A recurring transfer from Mother's private account to Marcus's company, starting the day Sophie was born. You knew. The pieces click together. You knew what Marcus was doing from the beginning. That's why you pushed him to adopt Sophie, to protect her trust fund from what was coming. I protected both my children. Her voice hardens. One of them was just smart enough to appreciate it. By making me an accomplice? By giving you an opportunity. She steps closer. Take the fall, Alexa. Be the villain you so desperately want to be. Sophie keeps her future, you get your revenge by exposing our manipulation, and everyone wins. Except me. Please. She waves dismissively. You've been playing victim your whole life. Now you can be a martyr instead. My phone buzzes one last time. Ryan sending security footage from Mother's house. The timestamp shows her at her computer logging into my email account. Proof. I look at my mother, really look at her, and see something I never noticed before. Fear. Not of justice or exposure, but of losing control. Of being powerless like she made me feel all those years. You're right, I say quietly. I have been playing a role my whole life. She relaxes slightly, victorious. But not victim. I pull out my phone, showing her the security footage. Student, you taught me everything I know about manipulation, Mother, including how to set a trap. The color drains from her face as Agent Chen steps into the room, recording device in hand. Thank you, Mrs. Harrison, Chen says. That was quite a confession. Mother lunges for my phone, but it's too late. Her mask finally cracks completely, revealing the monster I always knew lurked beneath. And as they lead her away, I realize something. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemy. It's about becoming strong enough to walk away from their game entirely. The holding cell smells like bleach and despair. I've been here for 6 hours since Mother's lawyer produced evidence that I'd been embezzling from Marcus's company all along. The security footage I thought would save me? Apparently doctored. My phone? Conveniently missing after the DA's office confrontation. Your father's here. The guard's voice echoes off concrete walls. Dad looks older than ever, his shoulders bent under an invisible weight. The house is being seized, he says without preamble. They're taking Sophie into protective custody. My stomach lurches. She can't stay with you. Rebecca's lawyers are arguing I was complicit. He won't meet my eyes. They found transfers from my account to yours. Monthly payments going back years. The child support you owed looks like hush money now. His laugh is hollow. Your mother's good, I'll give her that. A new guard appears. Mr. Harrison, time's up. And Ms. Harrison. She checks her clipboard. Your boyfriend's withdrawn his statement supporting your alibi. The words hit like physical blows. Ryan, the one person I thought would never. He's scared, Dad says quietly. We all are. After he leaves, I press my forehead against the cold wall, trying to think. Mother's masterpiece is complete. She's turned everyone against me, just like she always threatened she would. Lily appears next, her face grave. I found something. About Sophie's adoption. What? The papers weren't filed properly. Marcus never legally adopted her. Hope flares briefly before reality crushes it. That doesn't matter now, I'm going to prison. Unless you're not Sophie's legal guardian. I stare at her. What are you talking about? Rebecca filed temporary guardianship papers this morning. For me. Lily's voice cracks. She's been planning this for months. Said if I didn't accept, she'd reveal what really happened the night of my father's accident. The piece I've been missing clicks into place. The night Mother was driving. Lily nods, tears streaming. I'm so sorry, Alexa. I can't lose everything. My career, my family's reputation. So you're choosing her. Like everyone else. She's offering a deal. If you sign a full confession, Sophie stays with me instead of going into the system. You'll serve 5 years max. And if I don't? Then she releases evidence that you've been planning this revenge scheme since college. Premeditated fraud carries 15 to 20 years. Lily slides papers through the slot. You have until morning to decide. After she leaves, I read the confession Mother's prepared. It's perfect, just enough truth mixed with lies to be believable. I'd lose everything, but Sophie would be safe, protected. The guard returns with one final visitor. Sophie herself clutching her stuffed rabbit. Why are you in jail? She asks, pressing her small hand against the glass. Mommy says you're sick like she was before Marcus came. What do you mean sick? She showed me pictures from when you were little, in the hospital. She said that's why you tell lies sometimes. My blood runs cold. The psychiatric hold when I was 12, after I tried to tell the school counselor about Mother's accidents. Sophie, listen to me. Whatever Mom tells you. Time's up, the guard interrupts. I love you, Lexa. Sophie's voice wavers. Mommy says if I'm good, maybe they'll let you come home soon. They lead her away as I slam my fist against the glass, feeling the last pieces of my life crumble. Mother's won. She's taken everything. My freedom, my reputation, even my sister's trust. I pick up the confession, pen hovering over the signature line. One signature to save Sophie from the system, to keep her from ending up like me. But then I remember Mother's words from years ago. Sometimes the greatest power isn't in fighting back. It's in knowing when to let someone destroy themselves. I tear the confession in half. Because maybe, just maybe, Mother's final lesson will be her undoing. After all, she taught me everything I know about patience, about playing the long game. And prison? Prison gives you nothing but time to plan. 3 months into my sentence, Mother visits. She glides into the prison visiting room like she's entering a country club. Designer handbag clutched close as if the fluorescent lights might tarnish it. "You're looking institutional," she says, settling into the metal chair. "Cut the small talk. Why are you here?" She slides a manila envelope across the table. "Marcus is dead. Apparent suicide in his cell last night." My fingers go numb. "What?" "He left a confession. Full details of the financial fraud going back decades, names, dates, offshore accounts." Her smile is brittle. "Including evidence that completely exonerates you." "How convenient, isn't it?" She leans forward. "Of course, the confession hasn't been officially filed yet. That depends on you." A guard shifts nearby, reminding me we're being watched. "What do you want?" "Sophie's trust fund is still tied to yours. If Marcus's confession goes public, she loses everything." Mother's voice drops. "Unless you sign over your rights to both trusts. Permanently. So you can steal from her too. So I can protect her from becoming you." The words slice deep, but I force myself to stay still. "Where is she?" "Safe, with Lily, who, unlike you, understands family loyalty." I think of Sophie's face pressed against the visiting room glass, of all the times Mother used her as a weapon against me. "And Dad?" "Cooperating. Amazing what people will do when faced with federal charges." She checks her watch. "You have 10 minutes to decide. The DA's waiting for my call." I stand abruptly, making her flinch. "You really think you've won, don't you?" "Darling, I won the moment you were born. Some people are simply born to lose." "Like Marcus?" Her composure cracks just slightly. "What?" I lean closer, dropping my voice. "Did he really kill himself, Mother? Or did you help him along, like you helped Lily's father?" "You can't prove anything." "Actually, I can." I smile, channeling her own cold expression. "Remember those hospital records you used to convince Sophie I was crazy? I requested copies. Found something interesting in the toxicology reports from that night. Something that matches what they found in Marcus's cell." She goes very still. "You're bluffing." "Am I? Check your phone." On cue, her phone buzzes, an email from my father's account containing decades of carefully preserved evidence. Every accident, every convenient death, every financial manipulation. "Dad may be cooperating," I say quietly, "but not with you." "God!" She stands, but I grab her wrist. "Sit down, Mother, we're not finished. You'll never prove—" "I don't need to prove anything. The FBI is executing a search warrant at your house right now. Amazing what they find when they know where to look." Her mask finally shatters completely. "You planned this. All of it. Even getting arrested. You taught me well. About patience. About playing the long game." I release her wrist. "About making sure your enemies destroy themselves." The guard approaches. "Everything okay here?" "Fine," Mother says, but her voice shakes. "My daughter was just leaving." "Actually," I smile at the guard, "I believe Agent Chen is waiting to speak with my mother about Marcus Harrison's death." Mother's face goes chalk white as 2 FBI agents enter the room. As they lead her away, she turns back once. "Sophie," she whispers. "She'll never forgive you." "Maybe not, but at least she'll be free of you." I watch through the window as they escort her down the corridor, her designer heels clicking against concrete. In her wake, I feel something unexpected. Not triumph, not satisfaction, but a profound emptiness. Because in the end, the greatest revenge wasn't destroying her empire or exposing her crimes. It was becoming strong enough to walk away from her game entirely. Tomorrow I'll be released. Evidence of my innocence already filed with the court. Sophie will be waiting with Dad, starting a new life untainted by Mother's poison. But tonight I sit in my cell one last time, remembering the little girl who once desperately sought her mother's love. She's gone now, replaced by someone stronger. Someone who finally understands that some victories come not from winning, but from refusing to play at all. The courtroom empties slowly after Mother's sentencing. 25 years for Marcus's death, another 10 for financial fraud. I remain seated, watching her being led away, still wearing Chanel beneath her handcuffs. "You didn't have to come," Dad says beside me. Yes, I did. Sophie's small hand slips into mine. At 6 now, she understands more than she should. "Is Mommy going to the bad place?" She's going somewhere she can't hurt anyone anymore. Lily hovers in the doorway, her testimony against Mother still hanging in the air between us. "Alexa, don't." I stand, lifting Sophie onto my hip. We both did what we had to do. Outside, reporters cluster like vultures. I shield Sophie's face as cameras flash, questions flying. "Miss Harrison, how does it feel to expose your mother's crimes? Any comment on Marcus Harrison's death? What about the missing millions?" Ryan waits by his car, looking uncertain. We haven't spoken since he withdrew his statement, but now he steps forward. "I can explain." "Nothing to explain." I move past him. "Mother's very persuasive. I remember." At home, Dad's renovated brownstone, not the mansion. I help Sophie with her homework while he makes dinner. The routine feels strange, peaceful, almost normal if you ignore the newspaper headlines scattered across the counter. "Found something in the old house files," Dad says, sliding a folder across the table. "Before they seized everything." Inside, adoption papers for Sophie. Not Marcus's failed attempt, but earlier ones. My name listed as potential guardian, dated just weeks after her birth. Mother knew, I realise. She always knew she'd need a backup plan. "She knew you'd protect Sophie no matter what," Dad's voice catches, "even from her. Why didn't you tell me about any of it?" He stares at his hands. "The same reason you planned your own arrest. Sometimes the only way to beat Rebecca was to let her think she'd won." The doorbell rings. Agent Chen stands outside with a familiar USB drive. "Found this in Marcus's personal effects. Thought you should see it." The video plays. Marcus in his cell looking haunted. "Rebecca's been planning this for years," he says, "using Alexa, Sophie, all of us. But she made one mistake. She taught Alexa too well, showed her exactly how to." The footage cuts off. "Time of recording?" I ask. 2 hours before his death." Chen pauses. "We're reopening some old cases, including Richard Chen's accident. Lily's father, the first of Mother's convenient deaths. Will it change her sentence? Probably not, but it might help others sleep better." After she leaves, I find Sophie in her room, arranging her dolls. One lies face down, abandoned, Mother's last gift to her. "Can we visit Mommy?" she asks. "Do you want to?" She shakes her head. "But you always said we should be kind, even to people who aren't kind to us." My throat tightens. "Sometimes being kind means staying away, so people can't hurt you anymore." "Like you did." "Yeah, like I did." Later, I sought through Mother's seized correspondence, letters, emails, a lifetime of manipulation documented in perfect penmanship. The last one, written the night before her arrest, remains unopened. I don't read it. Instead, I watch Sophie sleep, her face peaceful in the glow of her nightlight. On her desk sits a family drawing, just 3 figures now, her, me, Dad. No Mother looming over us, no Marcus in the background. My phone buzzes, an unknown number from the prison. Mother, probably, with one last attempt at control. I block the number, because sometimes victory isn't in the revenge you take, but in the power you refuse to give. In the letters you don't read, the calls you don't answer, the pain you choose to leave behind. Sophie stirs, reaching for my hand in her sleep. I hold it, feeling the pulse of a future unbound by Mother's shadows. Tomorrow brings its own challenges. Therapy appointments, trust fund negotiations, reporters still hungry for headlines. But tonight, in this quiet room, I understand something Mother never could. True power lies not in controlling others, but in finally completely, letting go.
The last time I saw my twin sister Jennifer, she was wearing a white coat that didn't belong to her, smiling that perfect smile that fooled everyone but me. That's the thing about twins. You always know when the other one is lying. My name is Kaylee, and I've spent my entire life being the other daughter. You know the type, the one whose achievements gather dust while her sister's mediocre accomplishments get framed and displayed on the living room wall. The one who works 3 jobs to put herself through nursing school while her parents fund her twins' supposed medical education. Did you hear about Jennifer's latest accomplishment? Mom gushed during our monthly family dinner. She's presenting her research at a conference in Boston next month. I stabbed my fork into the overcooked chicken, remembering the Instagram stories I'd seen of Jennifer partying in Miami that same weekend. Really? That's interesting. You could learn something from your sister's dedication, Dad chimed in, his reading glasses perched on his nose as he scrolled through his phone, probably looking at more fake achievements Jennifer had sent them. Maybe if you'd applied yourself more, you could have been a doctor too. Amy, my best friend since high school, squeezed my knee under the table. She was the only one who knew the truth, the only one I'd invited to my nursing school graduation when Jennifer conveniently scheduled a medical conference the same weekend as my ceremony. Actually, I started, then stopped as Mom's face lit up at the sound of her phone chiming. Oh! Jennifer just sent a photo from her rounds at the hospital. Mom turned the phone around, showing us a picture of Jennifer in scrubs, posing next to some medical equipment. I recognized the set from a medical TV drama. Jennifer had always been good at staging photos. Where's Jennifer anyway? Amy asked innocently. I haven't seen her at family dinner in months. The silence that followed was deafening. Mom's smile faltered slightly. She's very busy with her residency, dear. You know how demanding medical school can be. I excused myself to help clear the dishes, escaping to the kitchen where I could breathe. The walls were lined with Jennifer's academic achievements, most of them fabricated or purchased online. My nursing school acceptance letter had been stuck to the fridge for exactly 2 days before disappearing into a drawer somewhere. You okay? Amy followed me, helping load the dishwasher. You know you could end this whole charade with one phone call, right? I handed her a plate, remembering the night shifts I'd worked at the diner, the weekends spent tutoring rich kids, all to pay for my education while Jennifer burned through our parents' savings. They wouldn't believe me anyway. They never have. Kaylee, Mom called from the dining room. Jennifer's calling on FaceTime. Come say hello to your sister. I walked back in, watching Jennifer's perfectly made-up face on the screen. She was wearing the white coat again, probably sitting in her apartment rather than any hospital. Sorry I couldn't make it tonight, she said, her voice dripping with fake remorse. We had an emergency case come in, and you know how it is. I did know how it was. I just finished a 12-hour shift at the cardiac unit where I'd actually helped save someone's life today. But nobody at this table wanted to hear about that. Of course, sweetie, Mom cooed. We're just proud you're doing such important work. Jennifer's eyes met mine through the screen. A flash of something. Fear? Guilt? Crossing her face before she quickly looked away. I should go. Patients waiting and all that. After she hung up, Dad started complaining about some chest pain he'd been having. Mom immediately suggested he should wait to see Jennifer about it, since she's the medical expert in the family. I gathered my things to leave, the weight of their willful ignorance pressing down on my shoulders. Amy hugged me goodbye, whispering, "They'll figure it out eventually." The truth always comes out. As I drove home that night, my phone buzzed with a text from Jennifer. Need to talk. It's important. I ignored it, just like I'd ignored the last dozen messages from her. Whatever crisis she was cooking up, I wanted no part of it. Let her figure out her own mess for once. But as I pulled into my apartment complex, another text came through. Please. Everything's falling apart. I turned off my phone and headed inside. Tomorrow, I had real lives to save, real medical procedures to assist with, real work to do. Jennifer's latest drama could wait. What I didn't know then was that her lies were about to collapse spectacularly, and somehow I'd end up right in the middle of it all. She's been withdrawing thousands from their accounts, I told Amy over coffee the next morning. Mom and Dad are too blinded by pride to even question it. We sat in our usual corner of the hospital cafeteria, stealing a few minutes before our shift started. Amy adjusted her scrubs and leaned forward. How do you know about the withdrawals? Mom left her phone unlocked at dinner. I saw the bank notifications. I stirred my coffee absently. 20,000 last month alone. For medical equipment and conference fees. Jesus. Amy shook her head. And they really believe she's Dash. Working as a resident at Mass General? Yeah. I laughed bitterly. Meanwhile, my friend Sarah, who actually works there, has never heard of her. The cafeteria was filling up with the morning shift change when my phone buzzed. Another text from Jennifer. They're going to find out. I need your help. Speak of the devil, I muttered, showing Amy the message. Are you going to respond this time? Before I could answer, my mom's number flashed across the screen. Unusual for this time of day. Mom? Kaylee, thank goodness. Her voice was shaky. Your father, he's not feeling well. We're coming to the hospital. My stomach dropped. What's wrong? His chest pain is worse and his left arm. She paused, and I could hear Dad arguing in the background. Jennifer's not answering her phone. Can you make sure someone good sees him? Maybe pull some strings through your sister. Of course. Even in an emergency, they assumed Jennifer was their best hope. Just come to the ER, I said, already standing. I'll meet you there. Amy grabbed my arm. Want me to cover your rounds? I nodded gratefully. Thanks. I should be there when they arrive. Racing down to the ER, I nearly collided with Dr. Jonathan, one of our top cardiologists. Whoa, Kaylee. Everything okay? My dad's coming in with chest pain. I explained the situation quickly. I'll keep an eye out for him, Jonathan promised. You're one of our best nurses. We'll take good care of him. I waited by the ER entrance, watching ambulances come and go. Finally, I spotted my parents' car. Dad was pale, leaning heavily on Mom as they walked in. Where's Jennifer? Mom demanded as soon as she saw me. We need her to oversee everything. Mom, let's focus on Dad right now. I guided them to the check-in desk, using my badge to expedite the process. As they wheeled Dad back for tests, I overheard Mom on the phone. Jennifer, please call us back. Your father needs you. The nurses here don't seem to know who you are. You should really talk to their supervisor about that. I bit my tongue and focused on reviewing Dad's initial readings. The numbers weren't good. Kaylee, Dr. Jonathan appeared at my side with the preliminary results. Your father's showing signs of significant coronary artery disease. We need to run more tests, but he might need surgery. Mom overheard and rushed over. We should wait for Jennifer to review the results. She's a doctor here, or at least affiliated with the hospital. I watched Jonathan's confusion flash across his face before he masked it professionally. I'm not familiar with a Dr. Jennifer on our staff, but I assure you I'm qualified to dash. She's probably just in surgery, Mom interrupted. Kaylee, can't you find out where your sister is? Just then, my phone buzzed again. Jennifer, I heard about Dad. Don't tell them anything. Please. I can fix this. I stepped away, finally typing back. Fix what? Your lies? It's too late for that. You don't understand, she replied immediately. I'm coming to the hospital. Just stall them. Dr. Jonathan pulled me aside while Mom was distracted with her phone. Kaylee, what's going on? Who's Jennifer? My twin sister, I said quietly. Who's been pretending to be a doctor here while stealing my parents' money? And now everything's about to blow up in the middle of my father's cardiac crisis. He squeezed my shoulder sympathetically. Focus on your father. Let the rest sort itself out. I nodded, watching Mom pace anxiously as she tried Jennifer's phone again. Through the window, I could see Dad hooked up to monitors, looking smaller and more vulnerable than I'd ever seen him. Jennifer's on her way, Mom announced triumphantly. She'll sort everything out. I caught Amy's eye as she passed by the ER. She mouthed, "Good luck," before disappearing down the hallway. I was going to need it, because I knew when Jennifer walked through those doors wearing her fake white coat, everything would change. And this time, I wouldn't help her maintain the lie, not with Dad's life on the line. Jennifer burst through the ER doors like she owned the place, white coat fluttering behind her. The confidence in her stride faltered when she saw Dr. Jonathan standing beside me. "Jennifer." Mom rushed to hug her. "Thank goodness you're here. These people don't seem to know who you are." I watched my sister's face carefully as she extracted herself from Mom's embrace. Her makeup was perfect as always, but I could see the cracks in her facade, the slight tremor in her hands, the way her eyes darted around the room. "Mom, I need to speak with Kaylee first," Jennifer said, grabbing my arm. Professional courtesy. Before Mom could protest, Jennifer dragged me into an empty consultation room and shut the door. "You have to help me maintain this for just a little longer." "Are you insane?" I hissed. "Dad needs actual medical care, not your pretend doctor act." I know. She ran her fingers through her hair, messing up her perfectly styled waves. "But if they find out now, they'll never forgive me. And the money dash." "What money, Jennifer?" "The thousands you've been stealing from them." A nurse knocked on the door. "Ms. Jennifer? Your mother's asking for you." Jennifer straightened her coat. "That's Dr. Dash. Don't." I grabbed her arm. "Just don't." Back in the hallway, Mom was arguing with Dr. Jonathan. "My daughter Jennifer is a resident here. She should be handling her father's case." Mrs. Dash, Dr. Jonathan started, but was cut off by the sharp ring of Mom's phone. Her face paled as she looked at the screen. "It's the bank." Again. She stepped away to answer it, and I could hear fragments of the conversation. "Overdraft, payment declined, investment transfer." Jennifer swayed slightly beside me. "I can explain everything." "Save it," I snapped. "Dad's test results are back. He needs emergency bypass surgery." "Real surgery, Jennifer. Not the kind you can fake with Instagram photos." "Everything okay here?" Amy appeared, holding Dad's chart. She did a double take at Jennifer's white coat. "Oh, you must be the famous doctor sister." Jennifer's face crumpled. "I need air." She rushed toward the exit, nearly bowling over a patient in a wheelchair. "Jennifer." Mom called after her. "Where are you going?" "Your father needs you." I watched Mom's face transform from confusion to horror as her phone rang again. This time, it was a number I recognized, the student loan office that had been calling our house for months. "What do you mean, no record of enrollment?" Mom's voice rose. "But we've been paying tuition for 4 years. Dr. Jonathan touched my shoulder. "Kaylee, we need to prep your father for surgery. Are you okay to assist?" "What?" "No," Mom interrupted. "Jennifer should dash." "Mom," I said firmly. "Jennifer isn't a doctor. She never was. She's been lying to you, stealing your money, and now Dad needs real medical help." The silence that followed was deafening. Mom's phone slipped from her fingers, clattering on the floor. Through the window, I could see Jennifer in the parking lot, ripping off her white coat and throwing it in a trash bin. But all the photos, the stories, Mom's voice was barely a whisper, were fake. All of it. I took a deep breath. "I'm not the doctor in the family, Mom. But I am a cardiac nurse with 8 years of experience, and right now, Dad needs surgery. Real surgery. Will you let us help him?" Mom sank into a chair, her world visibly crumbling around her. All this time. "Mrs. Dr. Jonathan said gently, your daughter Kaylee is one of our most skilled nurses. She'll be in the operating room with me, making sure your husband gets the best care possible." Amy appeared with the consent forms. "We need these signed right away." Mom's hand shook as she signed, tears dropping onto the paper. Through the window, I could see Jennifer sitting in her car, head bowed over the steering wheel. "I'll go talk to Dad before the surgery," I said. "He needs to know what's happening." "Kaylee," Mom caught my hand. I don't understand any of this." "I know, Mom." I squeezed her hand before letting go. But right now, understanding isn't as important as saving Dad's life. As I walked toward Dad's room, my phone buzzed one last time. "Jennifer, I'm sorry. For everything. Please don't let him die." I turned off my phone and pushed open Dad's door. He looked up at me, tubes and wires surrounding him, fear evident in his eyes. For the first time in my life, he was going to have to trust me instead of Jennifer. And I was going to prove I was worthy of that trust, even if it meant watching my sister's carefully constructed world burn to the ground. Your heart needs help, Dad, I explained, checking his foreline. Dr. Jonathan is going to perform bypass surgery. Dad's eyes darted around the room. But where's Jennifer? She should be here, supervising everything. I took a deep breath, steadying myself against the beeping monitors. Dad, there's something you need to know, Dash. Your sister just called, Mom interrupted, hurrying into the room. She says she's consulting with her colleagues about your case. I shot her a look of disbelief. Even now, after everything, she was covering for Jennifer. Mom, stop. I turned back to Dad. Jennifer isn't a doctor. She never was. She's been lying to you both, spending your money on God knows what. Dad's heart monitor spiked. What are you talking about? Kaylee, this isn't the time, Mom pleaded. It's exactly the time, I insisted. You need to understand who's really taking care of you, Dad. Not Jennifer with her fake credentials, but real medical professionals who know what they're doing. The door opened, and Dr. Jonathan entered with Amy. We need to prep for surgery now. Dad grabbed my hand, his grip surprisingly strong. Is it true? About Jennifer? I nodded, watching his face crumple. The heart monitor beeped faster. Mister, please try to stay calm, Amy said, adjusting his medication. Your heart can't handle additional stress right now. The money, Dad whispered. All of it? Gone? We can discuss everything after the surgery, Dr. Jonathan interjected. Right now, we need to focus on getting you better. Kaylee will be assisting in the OR. Dad's eyes widened. Kaylee? But she's just a dash. One of our most competent cardiac nurses, Dr. Jonathan finished firmly. You're in good hands. As we prepped Dad for transport to the OR, my phone lit up with messages from Jennifer. They're freezing my accounts. The police want to talk to me. Please tell them I'll pay everything back. I ignored them all. In the OR prep room, I helped position Dad on the table while Dr. Jonathan briefed the surgical team. The familiar routine of scrubbing and helped calm my nerves. You okay? Amy asked, helping me with my surgical gown. I have to be, I replied, watching through the window as Mom paced the waiting room, still trying to call Jennifer. Dr. Jonathan approached me before we entered the OR. Kaylee, if this is too personal, Dash. I need to be there, I said firmly. I need to do this right. He nodded, understanding in his eyes. Then let's save your father's life. The surgery began smoothly. I fell into my role, anticipating Dr. Jonathan's needs, monitoring vitals, staying focused despite the knowledge that this was my father on the table. Halfway through the procedure, Amy stuck her head in. Kaylee, the police are here. They need to speak with your mother about Jennifer. I kept my eyes on the surgical field. Not now. They're saying something about fraud. Multiple counts. Dr. Jonathan glanced at me. Stay focused, Kaylee. This is what matters right now. He was right. While Jennifer's life was imploding outside these walls, I was helping save our father's life. The irony wasn't lost on me. Hours passed in the concentrated focus of surgery. Finally, Dr. Jonathan stepped back. Good work, everyone. He's stable. In the recovery room, I watched Dad's chest rise and fall with his breathing. Mom appeared in the doorway, her face tear-stained. Jennifer's gone, she said quietly. She emptied her apartment, left her car at the airport. The police say she took almost everything. I continued checking Dad's vitals, letting her words wash over me. But you, Mom's voice cracked. You were here. You helped save him. It's my job, Mom. It's what I've been doing for years, while you were both focused on Jennifer's lies. Dr. Jonathan appeared with the post-op report. The surgery was successful. Your husband should make a full recovery, thanks in large part to Kaylee's assistance. Mom sank into a chair, looking lost. I don't understand how he didn't see it. How he didn't see you. Before I could respond, Dad stirred, his eyes fluttering open. He focused on me, still in my surgical scrubs, and I saw something I'd never seen before in his gaze. Recognition. Real recognition. Kaylee, he whispered hoarsely. My daughter, the nurse. It wasn't quite an apology, but it was a start. As I adjusted his oxygen mask, I realized that sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't about getting even, it's about proving your worth while watching carefully constructed lies crumble on their own. 3 days into Dad's recovery, the police showed up again. I was checking his incision site when 2 detectives entered the room. "Mrs., one of them addressed Mom, we need to discuss the extent of your daughter Jennifer's fraud." Mom's hands trembled as she clutched her coffee cup. "Can't this wait? My husband is recovering from surgery." "Unfortunately, no." The detective pulled out a tablet. "We've uncovered multiple accounts, forged documents, and a pattern of deception that spans several years. The total amount missing is close to $500,000. Dad's heart monitor beeped faster. I adjusted his medication, shooting the detectives a warning look. "$500,000? Mom whispered. "But that's everything. Our savings, the house equity." "She also opened credit cards in your names," the second detective added. "And there's evidence she sold falsified medical prescriptions." "She what?" I spun around, nearly dropping the chart I was holding. "We have reason to believe she was part of a larger prescription fraud ring. That's why we need to move quickly." Dad tried to sit up, wincing. "My little girl, a criminal?" "Sir, please stay still," I urged, helping him back down. "Your sternum needs time to heal." "Did you know?" Mom suddenly asked me. "Did you know what she was doing?" "I knew she was lying about medical school," I admitted. "But the prescription fraud? No, that's beyond anything I imagined." The door opened and Dr. Jonathan walked in, frowning at the scene. "Is everything okay here?" "Mister, your blood pressure is elevated." "We're just finishing up," the first detective said, handing Mom a card. "Call us when you're ready to make a formal statement." After they left, Mom collapsed into a chair, looking decades older. "We're ruined. Everything we worked for. The house." Dad's voice was weak. "The retirement accounts." "Let's focus on your recovery first," I said firmly, adjusting his pillows. "One crisis at a time." Dr. Jonathan cleared his throat. "Kaylee, can I speak with you outside?" In the hallway, he handed me a coffee. "How are you holding up?" "I'm fine. It's them I'm worried about. They're not just physically and emotionally drained, they're financially destroyed." "About that?" He shifted uncomfortably. "The hospital board met this morning. Given the circumstances, they're willing to work out a payment plan for your father's surgery." I blinked back unexpected tears. "They don't have to dash. You're one of our best nurses, Kaylee. We take care of our own." A commotion down the hall caught our attention. Amy was rushing toward us, her face pale. "She's here." "Who's Dash?" I started, but then I saw her. Jennifer strode down the hallway, still wearing that damn white coat, her hair perfectly styled as if nothing had changed. 2 security guards followed close behind. "Ma'am, you need to leave," one called out. "You're not authorized to be here." "My father is a patient here," Jennifer announced loudly. "I'm his doctor." "The hell you are," I stepped in front of her. "Take off that coat, Jennifer. The game is over." "You don't understand," she hissed. "I can explain everything. I just need to talk to Mom and Dad Dash." "Explain what?" I demanded. "The stolen money? The fake prescriptions? The lives you put at risk pretending to be something you're not?" Mom appeared in Dad's doorway, her face hardening at the sight of Jennifer. "How dare you come here?" "Mom, please," Jennifer's voice cracked. "I was going to pay it all back. I just needed more time, Dash." "Security," Dr. Jonathan called out. "Please escort this woman out. She has no authority to be here." "You can't do this to me." Jennifer's carefully maintained composure shattered. "I'm a doctor. I belong here." "No," I said quietly. "You're a fraud. And you're breaking our father's heart all over again." As security led her away, her screams echoed down the hallway. "You'll regret this, Kaylee. You think you're better than me? You're just a nurse." "Yes," I called after her. "I am just a nurse. A real nurse who actually saves lives instead of pretending to." Mom touched my arm, her eyes wet. "I'm so sorry, Kaylee. For everything." Inside the room, Dad was watching through the window, tears streaming down his face. The monitor showed his heart rate climbing dangerously. "I need everyone out," I announced, moving to his bedside. He needs rest. As I administered his medication, Dad caught my hand. I was wrong about you, he whispered. So wrong. I adjusted his oxygen, fighting back my own tears. Rest now, Dad. Just rest. Through the window, I could see Jennifer being escorted out of the building, her white coat finally removed, revealing who she truly was, just my twin sister, no longer able to hide behind her elaborate lies. They're going to lose the house, I told Amy during our lunch break. The bank called this morning. They're foreclosing next month. A week had passed since Jennifer's dramatic exit. Dad was recovering slowly, but the financial devastation was just beginning to unfold. Can't they fight it? Amy asked, pushing her salad around. Fight it with what? Jennifer drained everything. Their retirement, their savings, even took out loans against the house. I rubbed my temples. They're talking about moving into a studio apartment. What about Jennifer? Any word? Police tracked her to Mexico, but lost her there. Apparently, she had a whole other identity set up. Dr. Jonathan approached our table, his face grim. Kaylee, we need to talk about your father's latest test results. My stomach dropped. What's wrong? There's a complication. One of the grafts isn't holding up as well as we'd hoped. He might need another surgery. I closed my eyes, remembering Mom's tears when she'd shown me their bank balance yesterday. They can't afford it. That's what I wanted to discuss. He sat down. The board approved, covering a portion of the costs, but the cafeteria doors burst open. Mom rushed in, panic on her face. Kaylee, your father's having chest pains again. We raced to Dad's room. His face was gray, sweat beading on his forehead as he clutched his chest. BP's dropping, Amy announced, checking the monitors. Get a crash cart in here, Dr. Jonathan ordered. Kaylee, I need you to I'm here. I can help. Jennifer's voice cut through the chaos. She stood in the doorway, wearing civilian clothes this time, but still carrying that air of authority she'd perfected over years of pretense. Security. I shouted, but Jennifer pushed past me to Dad's bedside. Daddy, I can explain everything. I was doing it for us, for the family. Dad's monitor started screaming. V-touch. Amy called out. Get her out of here. Dr. Jonathan commanded as we began emergency procedures. No, please. Jennifer struggled against the security guards who'd appeared. I have money. I can pay for his treatment. I just need access to one more account. You're killing him. I screamed, watching Dad's vitals plummet. Your lies are literally killing him. Mom grabbed Jennifer's arm. Haven't you done enough? Look what you've done to us. As security dragged Jennifer away, I heard her sob. I just wanted you to be proud of me. Like you were of Kaylee. Proud of Kaylee? Mom's voice cracked. We never even saw Kaylee. We were too busy believing your lies. We stabilized Dad, but the damage was done. The emotional stress had compromised his recovery. Later, in the quiet of his room, Dad beckoned me closer. I need to say something. Dad, you should rest. No. His voice was weak but determined. We were wrong. So wrong. All these years, we thought Jennifer was the successful one, the one who'd make us proud. But she was just telling us what we wanted to hear. Mom wiped her eyes. While you were actually doing it. Actually saving lives. I didn't do it for recognition, I said softly. I did it because it's who I am. We know that now. Dad reached for my hand. And we're proud. So proud. Not of what you do, but of who you are. Dr. Jonathan entered with the test results. We need to schedule another surgery soon. The complications. We'll sell everything, Mom interrupted. The house, the car, everything. No. I straightened up. I have savings. Not much, but enough for a down payment on the surgery. And I can pick up extra shifts. Kaylee, Dad's voice broke. We can't take your money. Not after everything. You're not taking it. I'm offering it. That's what family does, real family, not the fake version Jennifer sold you. Mom started crying again, but this time they were different tears. We don't deserve you. Maybe not, I agreed. But you've got me anyway. And I'm real. Everything I am, everything I do, it's all real. Through the window, I could see police officers talking to hospital security, probably about Jennifer's latest appearance. Her desperate attempt to maintain control had only revealed how little control she'd ever had. "We'll figure this out," I told my parents. Together. No more lies, no more pretense. Just us, dealing with reality, no matter how hard it is. Dad squeezed my hand. "My daughter, the nurse," he said again, but this time there was pride in his voice. Real pride, not the manufactured kind they'd been clinging to all these years. Sometimes I realized the truth hurts more than lies, but at least it heals clean. "He's crashing." Dr. Jonathan's voice cut through the tension in the operating room. "Kaylee, I need that paddles now." My hands moved automatically, years of training taking over as I passed him the defibrillator. On the table, Dad's heart had stopped beating. Again. Third time during the surgery. "Clear." The shock made Dad's body jump. "Nothing." Again. Dr. Jonathan called. "Come on, come on." I watched the monitor, silently pleading. This was the riskier second surgery, the one we'd hoped to avoid. The one that might kill him. Still nothing, Amy announced from her position monitoring vitals. "One more time," I said, my voice steady despite the fear churning in my stomach. "He's stronger than he looks." The paddles connected. Dad's body arched. And then, a beep. Then another. Normal sinus rhythm, Amy called out, relief evident in her voice. "He's back." Dr. Jonathan nodded at me. "Good call, Kaylee. Let's finish this." Hours passed in focused intensity. Every suture, every movement had to be perfect. This wasn't just another patient. This was my father, and I couldn't fail him. "Not now." BP's dropping, Amy warned. "No," I muttered, adjusting his medication. "Not today, Dad. Stay with us." The door to the OR burst open. A nurse I didn't recognize rushed in. "There's a situation outside." The other daughter, she's threatening to expose hospital records unless she's allowed in. "Focus," Dr. Jonathan commanded as my hands trembled slightly. "Your father needs you here, Kaylee. Let security handle Jennifer." He was right. I pushed thoughts of my sister aside and concentrated on the task at hand. Minutes ticked by, marked only by the steady beep of the heart monitor and the metallic clink of surgical instruments. Finally, Dr. Jonathan stepped back. "We're done. Good work, everyone." As we wheeled Dad to recovery, I heard the commotion before I saw it. Jennifer stood at the nurse's station, still trying to maintain her facade of authority. "Those records prove I worked here," she was shouting. "I demand, Dash." "You demand nothing," I said, stepping forward, still in my surgical scrubs. "While you're out here throwing tantrums, I just helped save Dad's life." Again. She spun around. Her perfect makeup couldn't hide the wild look in her eyes. "You think you're so much better than me, don't you? The perfect daughter?" "No," I replied calmly. "I'm just real. Something you never learned how to be." "Real?" She laughed hysterically. "You're just a nurse." I could have been a real doctor if Dash. If what? Mom's voice cut through the tension. She stood in the hallway, looking older and tired, but stronger somehow. "If we'd given you more money to steal? If we'd believed more of your lies?" Security approached from both ends of the hallway. Jennifer's eyes darted around, looking for escape. "It's over," I told her. "The police are downstairs. Those records you're threatening to expose? They prove your fraud, not your credentials." "You don't understand," Jennifer's voice cracked. "I just wanted Dash to be special," Mom finished. "You already were. But it was never enough for you, was it?" Jennifer's shoulders slumped as security reached her. The white coat she'd lived in for so long was just a costume, and now everyone could see through it. "How is he?" she asked quietly as they led her away. "Like you care," I started, but stopped myself. Despite everything, she was still my twin. "He'll live." "No thanks to you." Mom hugged me, her tears soaking into my scrubs. "I watched through the window," she whispered. "Watched you help save him. You were amazing." Dr. Jonathan appeared, his surgical cap still on. "Your father's asking for you, Kaylee." "In recovery," Dad looked fragile but alive. Wonderfully, definitively alive. My girl, he whispered hoarsely. My real hero. Don't talk, I adjusted his oxygen mask. Just rest. No, he insisted. Need to say, sorry. For not seeing. For believing her instead of seeing you. I checked his vitals, fighting back tears. It doesn't matter now. It does, he grabbed my hand. You're the daughter we should have been proud of all along. Through the window, I could see police escorting Jennifer out of the building. Our eyes met briefly, twin sisters, mirror images, but walking completely different paths. She'll go to prison, Mom said softly. Yes, I agreed, watching my sister disappear into a police car. But maybe there, she'll finally learn to be real. Dad's monitors showed strong, steady rhythms, much like my own heart, finally beating with the recognition and pride I'd never known I needed. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. Sometimes it's about standing in your truth while lies crumble around you, about saving those who never saw you, and finding strength in being exactly who you are. Ready to go home, Dad? I adjusted his wheelchair while Mom gathered the last of his belongings from the hospital room. Not to the apartment, he said quietly. Doesn't feel like home. The small 2-room apartment they'd moved into after losing the house was a constant reminder of Jennifer's betrayal. I understood his reluctance. Actually, I said, pulling out a key, I have a surprise. Amy's moving in with her boyfriend, so I have an extra room in my place. It's yours if you want it. Mom dropped the bag she was holding. Kaylee, we couldn't dash. You can and you will. I handed her the key, at least until you're back on your feet. Dr. Jonathan appeared in the doorway. Final discharge papers are ready. And Kaylee, there's someone here to see you. A woman in a business suit stepped into the room. I'm Sarah from the nursing board. We've reviewed your performance during both of your father's surgeries, along with your overall record. My stomach tightened. With everything that happened with Jennifer, I worried there might be professional repercussions. We'd like to offer you a position as head cardiac nurse, she continued, with a significant pay increase and the opportunity to train new nurses. What? The way you handled both the medical and personal aspects of your father's case was exceptional, she explained. We need nurses like you in leadership positions. Mom started crying again, but this time they were happy tears. Dad reached for my hand. There's more, Dr. Jonathan added. The hospital board voted to forgive the remaining balance of your father's medical bills in light of your service and the unusual circumstances. We can't accept Dad started. Yes, we can, Mom interrupted firmly. We're done with false pride. That's what got us into this mess in the first place. As if on cue, Amy rushed in waving a newspaper. Have you seen this? Jennifer took a plea deal. The headline read, Former fake doctor pleads guilty, agrees to help prosecute prescription fraud ring. 5 years, Amy continued. And she has to pay restitution. At least she's finally telling the truth, I said, surprised by how little satisfaction I felt at her downfall. She sent this. Mom held out a letter. I haven't opened it. I took the envelope, recognizing Jennifer's perfect handwriting. Dear family, I'm sorry. Not just for the money or the lies, but for overshadowing Kaylee all these years. She was the real thing, and I was just a shadow pretending to be light. I'll spend my time making amends, starting with telling the truth. Love, Jennifer. Well, Dad said after I read it aloud, that's a start. Speaking of starts, Dr. Jonathan stepped forward. Kaylee, would you join me for dinner tonight? To celebrate your promotion. Mom's eyebrows shot up as I felt my cheeks flush. I'd like that. Finally, Amy exclaimed, I've been watching you two dance around each other for months. As we wheeled Dad out of the hospital, past the cardiac unit where I'd spent so many hours proving myself, I felt something settle in my chest. Not revenge or vindication, but peace. You know what I remember? Dad said as we reached the car. The day you got your nursing acceptance letter. Jennifer threw such a fit that we barely noticed. I'm sorry for that. I'm not, I replied, helping him into the passenger seat. Everything that happened made me who I am. Even the hard parts. Especially the hard parts. Well, I for one am done missing the real things while chasing shadows, Mom declared. My daughter's a head nurse, maybe dating a doctor, and definitely my hero. Mom. I groaned, but couldn't help smiling. What? I'm allowed to brag about you now. In fact, I insist on it. As we drove home, my home, now they're home too, I thought about Jennifer sitting in her cell, finally facing reality. Maybe that was her path to becoming real too. You know what this means? Amy called from her car behind us. Celebration dinner. I'm thinking pizza at Kaylee's place. Perfect, I agreed. Real food, real family, real life. Dad caught my eye in the rearview mirror. Real proud of you, kiddo. Always will be. Sometimes the best endings aren't about winning or losing, but about finding your truth and standing in it, about family rebuilding itself around reality instead of illusion. Jennifer had played doctor, but I had become something better, myself. And that, finally, was enough.
I never meant to become the villain in my family's story. But standing outside my mother's new McMansion, listening to her conspire with my stepfather about hidden accounts and my inheritance, I realized I'd already been cast as one. My name is Serenity, and until 6 months ago, I was just another 29-year-old tech professional living my best life in Seattle. Now I'm the daughter both my parents want to erase from their carefully curated new lives. We need to get her to sign those papers, my mother Genesis was saying, her voice drifting through the partially open window. Larry's business partner is getting antsy about the transfers. She'll sign, my stepfather Larry replied. She's always been such a good girl, always doing what's expected. I pressed myself against the cool brick, my heart pounding. I'd only stopped by to drop off Mum's birthday gift, a ritual I maintained despite her increasing distance since remarrying 3 years ago. What if she asks questions? Mum's voice had that nervous edge I remembered from childhood, when she'd try to hide overdue bills from Dad. About the inheritance, please, she probably doesn't even remember her grandmother mentioned those accounts. But I did remember. Grandma Helen had pulled me aside at her last Christmas, pressing a letter into my hands. When you turn 30, sweetheart, not before. Promise me. She died 2 months later. The letter, still unopened, sat in my safe deposit box. My phone buzzed, a text from my father Elijah. Need to discuss something important. Dinner tonight? Perfect timing, Dad. Really. I stepped away from the window and walked to my car, my gift bag still clutched in my hand. The expensive perfume inside suddenly seemed ridiculous. What do you give someone who's plotting to steal from you? 3 hours later, I sat across from my father at his favorite steakhouse, watching him cut into his medium-rare ribeye with precise movements. His new wife Vanessa was there too, of course. She never let him out of her sight these days. Serenity, honey, he began, setting down his knife. We've been thinking about your future. That's funny, I said, pushing my salad around. So has Mom. He exchanged a quick glance with Vanessa. Oh? You've spoken to her recently. You could say that. I took a sip of water. Dad, what's this really about? Vanessa leaned forward, her diamond tennis bracelet catching the light. We're concerned about you, sweetheart. Always working such long hours at that computer job. No serious relationship, no real roots. I make 6 figures securing corporate networks, Vanessa. I'd call those pretty serious roots. What Vanessa means, Dad cut in, is that we think it might be time for you to consider a fresh start. Maybe use your grandmother's inheritance to buy a nice condo, settle down. The inheritance I'm not supposed to access until I turn 30. I watched his face carefully. Funny how everyone's suddenly so interested in that. Plans change, honey. Times change. And with Samuel's college fund needing attention... there it was. My 12-year-old stepbrother's future trumped my grandmother's wishes. Just like Penelope's private school tuition had somehow become tied to my mother's share of my inheritance. I need to use the ladies' room, I said, standing up. In the restroom, I gripped the marble counter and stared at my reflection. I had my mother's eyes and my father's stubborn jaw. Right now, both felt like curses. My phone buzzed again. A text from Harry, my best friend since college. How's dinner with the devil? I typed back, Both devils are circling. Time to play their game. His response was immediate. You know I've got your back, whatever you need. I smiled at my reflection. In the mirror, I looked exactly like what they all thought I was. The good girl, the dutiful daughter, the one who'd sign whatever they put in front of her. They had no idea what I was capable of. Walking back to the table, I caught the tail end of their whispered conversation. Just like her mother, always questioning everything, Vanessa was saying. Dad shushed her as I approached. Everything okay, honey? I gave them my brightest smile. Perfect. Actually, I've been thinking about what you said, about fresh starts. Their relief was palpable. Dad reached for his wallet, probably to celebrate with an extra bottle of wine. I think it's time for all of us to face some truths, I continued, starting with what's really happening with those accounts. The color drained from my father's face. Vanessa's hand froze halfway to her wine glass. I picked up my purse. But that's a conversation for another night. I have some work to do first. As I walked out of the restaurant, my phone buzzed one final time. A text from my mother. Please call me, it's important. I bet it is, Mom. I bet it is. The next morning, I sat in my home office staring at my grandmother's letter. The paper felt delicate, like it might crumble under the weight of everything that had happened since she wrote it. My phone lit up with another message from Mom. Serenity, please. We need to talk. That made 15 unanswered texts since last night. I switched my phone to silent and opened my laptop instead. Time to see what my parents were so desperate to hide. You sure about this? Harry's voice crackled through my speakers as we connected on our secure line. Once you start digging, there's no going back. They already started this, I said, fingers flying across my keyboard. Did you get access to those records I asked about? Better. I found something weird in your stepdad's company filings. Multiple shell corporations, all registered within days of your mom's wedding. Send them over. While Harry transferred the files, I opened my banking app and pulled up Grandma's trust information. The balance made me catch my breath. 7 figures, all earmarked for my 30th birthday. No wonder they were circling like vultures. Got another hit, Harry said. Your dad's new construction business, the one Vanessa's always bragging about on Facebook. It's hemorrhaging money, but somehow they're still buying property all over the city. Money laundering? Looking that way. Want me to dig deeper? A knock at my door made me freeze. Through the security camera feed, I saw my stepsister Penelope shifting nervously on my welcome mat. Call you back, I told Harry, closing my laptop. I opened the door to find Penelope looking smaller than her 15 years, clutching her phone like a lifeline. Mum's freaking out, she blurted. She said you won't answer her calls. Shouldn't you be in school? It's Saturday. She pushed past me into the apartment. What's going on? Larry's been locked in his office all morning and Mum keeps crying. I studied her face, so young, so earnest. She had no idea she was just another pawn in their game. How'd you get here? I asked. Uber. She flopped onto my couch. Mom doesn't know I came. She thinks I'm at soccer practice. Penny, don't call me that. She sat up straighter. I'm not stupid, you know. I hear things, like how my tuition is coming from your money, not theirs. That stopped me cold. What exactly did you hear? Larry told Mom they needed you to sign something, or the school wouldn't get paid next semester. Her voice wavered. Is that true? Are they stealing from you? I sat beside her, choosing my words carefully. It's complicated. That's what adults always say when they're lying. She pulled out her phone, opened a video. I recorded something last night, after you didn't answer Mum's calls. The video was shaky, filmed through a crack in a door. Larry's voice came through clearly. If she starts asking questions about the offshore accounts, we're all screwed. Not just us. Your ex-husband, too. You think Elijah's new family would survive that scandal? My mother's response was tearful. She wouldn't. She's not that kind of person. Everyone's that kind of person when millions are involved. I looked at Penelope, saw the hurt in her eyes. Does Mom know you have this? She shook her head. I didn't know who else to show. You're the only one who ever tells me the truth. My phone buzzed again. A text from my father. Meeting with the lawyers Monday. Very important you attend. What are you going to do? Penelope asked. I thought about Grandma Helen, about her final Christmas. She'd known something wasn't right. That's why she'd written the letter. First, I said, I'm going to read something I should have read months ago. I retrieved the letter from my office, sat back down beside Penelope. The envelope opened easily, as if it had been waiting for this moment. Dear Serenity, I read aloud. If you're reading this, you've either turned 30 or you've discovered what your parents are capable of. The money I've left you isn't just an inheritance, it's protection. They'll try to take it, claim they need it for noble reasons. Don't let them. Some people only show their true colors when there's green involved. Penelope leaned against my shoulder as I continued reading. The letter, detailed account numbers, passwords, evidence of years of financial manipulation by both my parents. Holy shit, Penelope whispered. Language, I said automatically, but my mind was racing. Grandma hadn't just left me money, she'd left me ammunition. My phone buzzed one final time. Harry. Found something big. You need to see this now. I looked at Penelope, saw my own determination reflected in her eyes. Want to help me take down some adults who think they're smarter than they are? She grinned. Hell yes. Language, I said again, but this time I was smiling too. The game was changing, and I finally had all the pieces I needed to play. Your parents are running a pyramid scheme, Harry announced, spreading documents across my dining room table. And not a very clever one. After getting Penelope safely home via Uber, with a promise to keep her updated, I'd invited Harry over to show me his findings in person. 3 hours and 2 pizza boxes later, the scope of my parents' deception was becoming clear. Look at this, Harry pointed to a spreadsheet. Your stepdad Larry creates shell companies. Your dad Elijah's construction business renovates empty properties for these companies. Your mum and Vanessa's interior design firms then stage and flip the properties. But the properties don't exist, I finished, seeing the pattern. Bingo. They're washing money through fake real estate deals. The only question is, whose money? My laptop pinged with an alert. I'd set up monitoring on my parents' email accounts, not strictly legal, but neither was what they were doing. Speaking of questions, I said, opening the new email. Look who's getting nervous. The message was from Larry to my father. She knows something. Meeting tomorrow, 2 p.m., usual place. Bring the papers. Harry whistled. The usual place? The Riverside Club. I pulled up the club's membership records. They both joined 3 years ago, right after Dad's wedding to Vanessa. Monthly dues are more than my mortgage. Perfect place to plan financial crimes over overpriced scotch. I started typing. The club's security is a joke. I'm in their camera system. There. I turned the screen to show Harry. They meet in that private room every Thursday. Tomorrow's special, just for me. What's your play? Before I could answer, my doorbell rang. Through the security feed, I saw Samuel, my 12-year-old stepbrother, shifting anxiously in the hallway. What is this, Grand Central Station for step-siblings? I muttered, but went to let him in. Samuel burst in as soon as I opened the door. Dad's going crazy, he blurted. He and Vanessa were fighting about you, and then he started shredding papers in his office and... He stopped, noticing Harry. Oh, hi. This is Harry, I said. He's helping me with... a project. Samuel's eyes darted between us. Is this about the money? Because I heard Vanessa tell Dad that my college fund isn't real. My heart sank. What do you mean? She said it was just for show, to convince some people they were legitimate, whatever that means. He pulled a folded paper from his pocket. I grabbed this before Dad could shred it. The document was a bank statement showing transfers between multiple accounts, all with identical balances. Classic money laundering. Samuel, I said carefully, does your dad know you took this? He shook his head. I'm not stupid. I know something bad's happening. That's why I came to you. Harry cleared his throat. Kids got good instincts. I want to help, Samuel insisted. They think because I'm always gaming, I don't notice things. But I do. An idea formed. Those cameras you use for your Twitch streams, I said, the tiny ones that clip onto anything. His eyes lit up. Yeah? Think you could get one into your dad's office? Serenity, Harry warned. That's risky. More risky than what they're doing to these kids. I gestured to the documents. They're using Samuel's college fund as a front. They used Penelope's tuition to pressure me. They're dragging our siblings into their mess. Samuel pulled out his phone. I can do better than one camera. I can get you his whole desktop. Dad uses the same password for everything. Vanessa's birthday. Amateur move, right? I couldn't help but laugh. You really do notice things. So I can help? I shared a look with Harry, who shrugged. He's already involved. Okay, I said, but we do this smart. No risks. Harry and I handle anything illegal. Ha, so you are doing illegal stuff. And you stay safe. Deal? He held out his hand solemnly. Deal. After setting Samuel up with secure communication channels and sending him home with a cover story about needing help with his math homework, I turned back to Harry. Tomorrow at the club, I said. I think it's time to crash their meeting. How? You're not a member. I pulled up the club's employee records. No, but their new bartender is. Started last week. Funny how they never actually interviewed her in person. Harry grinned. You didn't? Amazing what you can do with the right paperwork and a good reference. I closed my laptop. Tomorrow we find out exactly what they're planning with those papers they want me to sign. And then, I thought about Penelope's worried face, Samuel's stolen document, my grandmother's warning letter. Then we make sure they never hurt anyone else with their schemes. My phone buzzed, a text from Mum. Please come to the meeting tomorrow. We can explain everything. Oh, they'd explain all right, just not in the way they were planning. The Riverside Club service uniform itched, and the contact lens camera Harry had given me kept making my eye water. But as I arranged glasses on my serving tray, I had a perfect view of my father and Larry settling into their private room. Water with lemon for Mr. Ellis, I murmured in my practiced Australian accent, setting down their drinks. And scotch, neat, for Mr. Thompson. Neither looked up. They were too engrossed in their papers to notice their bartender was their daughter in a wig. The lawyers are ready, Dad was saying. Once she signs, the trust transfers immediately. Larry swirled his scotch. And Genesis is sure about her grandmother's letter. She never opened it. That's what's driving her crazy. She thinks Serenity knows something. Gentlemen, a new voice interrupted. Vanessa swept in, designer handbag swinging. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was horrible. I turned to leave, but Vanessa caught my arm. Another scotch, dear, and make it quick. In the service corridor, I pressed my earpiece. Harry, you getting this? Crystal clear, his voice crackled back. Samuel came through too. Just sent footage from your dad's office. You're not going to believe what Vanessa's been up to. Tell me later, they're pulling out more papers. Back in the room, the atmosphere had shifted. Vanessa was pacing, her heels clicking against the hardwood. Samuel was in your office, she snapped at my father. That little sneak was going through your papers. Dad's face paled. What? I checked the security footage. He took something, Elijah. A bank statement. Jesus Christ, Larry muttered. Can't you control your kid? He's 12, Dad protested. He probably didn't understand. He's 12, not stupid, Vanessa cut in. Unlike some people at this table. I nearly dropped my tray. In my ear, Harry whispered, Steady. What's that supposed to mean? Larry demanded. Vanessa pulled out her phone. It means while you two were playing businessman, I was actually protecting our interests. Show them the numbers, Larry. Show them what you've really been doing with the construction funds. Larry's face turned red. Now wait a minute. Oh, I've waited. I've watched you siphon money from our accounts for months. Did you think I wouldn't notice? I ran 3 successful businesses before I married Elijah. I know fraud when I see it. Dad stood up so fast his chair toppled. You're stealing from us. More scotch, I offered brightly, stepping between them. Get out, Vanessa snapped. I retreated to the door, but lingered, watching the scene unfold. It's not stealing, Larry was saying. I was investing. In what? Vanessa laughed. Your girlfriend's boutique in Vancouver. The room went silent. In my ear, Harry whispered, plot twist. What girlfriend? My father asked quietly. Larry's face was now purple. You had me followed. Of course I did. I follow everyone. Vanessa turned to my father. Including your weekly visits to Genesis. I almost gave myself away with a gasp. Dad was meeting Mom in secret. That's different, Dad protested. We're discussing Serenity's inheritance. You're discussing how to steal it. Vanessa slammed her hand on the table. Did you think I wouldn't find out about that too? The offshore accounts, the fake college funds, all of it. Keep recording, Harry urged in my ear. This is gold. You don't understand, Larry tried again. The business is a front, Vanessa spat, just like this whole charade. Well, I'm done playing along. Either we do this my way, or I take everything I know to the SEC. Dad sank into his chair. What do you want? Simple. We get Serenity's signature tomorrow, transfer the money before she turns 30, and then... She smiled coldly. We all go our separate ways, with equal shares. Genesis won't agree, Dad said. Genesis doesn't have a choice. None of you do. Vanessa gathered her papers. Meeting's over. Don't forget to tip the help. She brushed past me with a dismissive glance. Larry and my father sat in stunned silence. In the service corridor, I pressed my earpiece again. Harry? Yeah? Remember how I wasn't sure about going nuclear on them? Changed your mind? I watched through the door as my father buried his face in his hands, while Larry drained his scotch with shaking fingers. They're not just trying to steal my inheritance, I said. They're destroying each other to get it, and dragging our siblings into their mess. So what's the plan? Through the door, I heard Larry mutter, What are we going to do? My father's response was clear. Whatever we have to. We can't let Serenity find out about any of this. I smiled grimly. The plan? We give them exactly what they want. A meeting tomorrow with all of them present. One big, happy family reunion. And then? And then we show them what happens when you underestimate the help. The morning of the big meeting, I found Penelope waiting outside my apartment again. This time, she wasn't alone. Samuel showed me the footage, she said, pushing past me. Samuel followed, clutching his laptop. We've got more. You two shouldn't be here, I started, but Samuel was already setting up his computer on my kitchen counter. Mum's been meeting your dad in secret for months, Penelope said. Not just about the inheritance. Look, Samuel pulled up a video. The timestamp showed 3 a.m. last night, security footage from his father's home office. My mother was there, frantically searching through desk drawers while my father kept watch at the door. Where is it? Mum's voice was panicked. The original contract has to be here somewhere. Genesis, we need to go, Dad urged. If Vanessa wakes up, she already knows everything, Mum snapped. Your wife's been playing us all, Elijah. She's got proof of every transaction, every fake company, every... She stopped, pulling out a thick folder. Found it. Is that? The original trust agreement, the one we altered. She shoved it in her bag. Now we just need Serenity's signature on the new version and... The video cut off. Samuel closed his laptop. There's more, but you get the idea. They altered Grandma's trust agreement. My voice sounded strange, even to me. That's not all, Penelope said. After Mum got home last night, Larry started calling all these overseas numbers. I recorded some of the conversations. She pulled out her phone. He's planning to run. Tonight, after the meeting. He's got a plane waiting. My phone buzzed. Harry. In position at the law office, you need to see this email chain between your dad and the lawyers. They're planning to declare you mentally incompetent if you don't sign. I looked at my step-siblings. These kids caught in the crossfire of adult greed. You should go home. What's about to happen? It won't be pretty. We're already involved, Samuel said. They used us as props in their schemes. We deserve to see how it ends. Besides, Penelope added, we've got one more bomb to drop. She pulled up another video on her phone. Remember how I said Vanessa knows everything? Look who she's been meeting with. The video showed Vanessa in a coffee shop, sitting across from a familiar face, my grandmother's former lawyer. She found the real will, Samuel explained. The one they hid when your grandmother died. Vanessa's been sitting on it for months, waiting for the right moment to use it against them. That's why she was so confident at the club yesterday, I realized. She's got proof they committed actual fraud. And she's willing to bury it, Penelope said, for a price. My phone buzzed again. Mom, on our way to the lawyers. Please be there, sweetheart. Let us explain everything. Then Dad, almost there. Remember, we love you. This is all for your own good. Finally, Vanessa. Don't be late. Wouldn't want to miss the family reunion. I looked at the time. 1 hour until the meeting that would change everything. Okay, I said to my step-siblings. If you're going to be part of this, we do it right. Here's what we need. 45 minutes later, I walked into the law officer's conference room. Harry was already there, posing as a junior partner. Mom, Dad, Larry, and Vanessa sat around the massive table, all trying to avoid eye contact with each other. Serenity, Mom stood up. Thank God you came. Of course I came. I sat down, placing my laptop on the table. I wouldn't miss this for the world. Before we begin, the lead lawyer said, we need to discuss the terms of the trust transfer. Actually, I interrupted, opening my laptop. I think we need to discuss a few other things first. I pressed a button, and the room's large display screen flickered to life. Like this video from the club yesterday, or these recordings from last night. Or maybe, I smiled at Vanessa, we should talk about the real will you've been hiding. The color drained from every face in the room. How did you, Larry started, or we could discuss the fake companies, the money laundering, the altered trust agreement. I've got it all. Every scheme, every lie, every betrayal. Serenity, Dad pleaded, let us explain. Oh, you'll explain. To the SEC, the IRS, and anyone else interested in what you've been doing. Unless what? Vanessa demanded. I pulled out a stack of papers. Unless you sign these, all of you, right now. What are they? Mom asked, voice trembling. Your confessions, your resignations from any company boards, and legally binding agreements to transfer control of all assets to a trust, one that will actually support Samuel and Penelope's education, not just pretend to. You're blackmailing us, Larry sputtered. No, I said calmly. I'm giving you a choice, more than you ever gave me. The room fell silent as my words sank in. Outside the conference room, I caught a glimpse of Samuel and Penelope watching through the glass, phones raised, recording everything. Time for the final act to begin. You can't do this, Larry was the first to break the silence. You're bluffing. I clicked to the next slide on the screen. Security footage showed him meeting his girlfriend outside a Vancouver bank. Am I? Let's ask your girlfriend about those transfers. I'm sure the Canadian authorities would love to chat with her too. Serenity, Mum reached across the table. Sweetheart, we were trying to protect you. By stealing from me. I played the video of her and Dad in his office. By conspiring to declare me mentally incompetent. That was Vanessa's idea, Dad blurted. Vanessa's perfectly manicured nails drummed the table. Really, Elijah? Throwing me under the bus already? She turned to me. You think you're so clever, don't you? But you've overlooked one thing. The real will, I smiled as her confidence faltered. The one you found and kept secret. Check your phone. She grabbed her phone, face paling as she read the message that had just arrived. Security footage of her meeting with Grandma's lawyer, followed by bank records of her subsequent payoff to him. How did you... You're not the only one who knows how to follow people. I nodded toward the glass wall where Samuel and Penelope still watched. Amazing what kids notice when adults think they're not paying attention. You involved the children? Mom looked horrified. How could you? How could I? I slammed my hand on the table. You used their futures as leverage. You created fake college funds to launder money. You made them accomplices to your crimes. Harry, still playing his role as the junior partner, cleared his throat. Perhaps we should focus on the documents that need signing. I'm not signing anything. Larry stood up. This is ridiculous. Genesis, let's go. Sit down, Vanessa snapped. Unless you want everyone to know about the money you've been stealing from our accounts, including your girlfriend. You knew? Mom's voice was small. Of course I knew. I know everything. Vanessa reached for the papers I'd brought. Where do I sign? Vanessa, don't... Dad started. Wake up, Elijah. She has us, all of us. Vanessa grabbed a pen. The only question is whether we walk away with something or nothing. I slid the papers toward each of them. Sign and you keep enough to live comfortably. Not wealthy, but comfortable. Refuse, and everything goes to the authorities. Your choice. What about the children? Mom asked. Penelope's school. The trust will cover their education, their real education, not your money laundering front. I met her eyes. They deserve better than what you've done to them. One by one they signed. Larry first, already planning his escape. Vanessa next, practical to the end. Dad, shoulders slumped in defeat. Finally Mom, tears smudging her signature. It's done, Harry said, gathering the papers. I'll file these immediately. Wait, Dad said, what happens now? I stood up, gathering my things. Now, you all have 24 hours to resign from your positions, transfer the specified assets, and begin making amends. The trust will be managed by an independent board, no family members allowed. And if we don't, Larry challenged. I nodded toward the glass wall. Samuel and Penelope held up their phones, still recording. Then everything we've discussed goes public. Every video, every document, every secret. I headed for the door. Your reputations, your freedom, your futures, they're in your hands now, just like mine was in yours. Serenity, Mom called out. Please, we're still family. I turned back one last time. Family doesn't steal from family. Family doesn't conspire and betray and lie. You taught me that, just not in the way you intended. Outside the conference room, Samuel and Penelope were waiting. Did they sign? Samuel asked. They signed. I hugged them both. You'll be okay now. The trust will make sure of it. What about you? Penelope asked. What will you do now? Through the glass, I watched my parents and their spouses sitting in stunned silence, their carefully constructed world crumbling around them. Now, I'm going to do what Grandma Helen wanted, use the money to help people, starting with kids who've been caught in their parents' crossfire. My phone buzzed one last time. Harry, sending confirmation that the papers were being filed. Come on, I said to my step-siblings. Let's get ice cream. Tomorrow's going to be a busy day. Why? What happens tomorrow? Samuel asked. I smiled, thinking of the press release already scheduled, the non-profit paperwork ready to file, the story about to break. Tomorrow we start making things right. Behind us, raised voices erupted from the conference room as reality finally sank in. But we didn't look back. Some families are built on blood, others on choices. Today, we'd chosen truth over lies, justice over greed, and each other over everything else. It wasn't the happy ending they'd planned, but maybe it was the one we all needed. The press conference wasn't my idea. Harry insisted we needed to go public before anyone could spin the story their way. So here I stood, 24 hours later, facing a room full of reporters, while my family's carefully constructed facade crumbled in real time. Ms. Hicks, a reporter called out, can you confirm the allegations about your stepfather's involvement in international money laundering? Larry Thompson resigned from all his positions this morning, I replied, gripping the podium. The evidence has been turned over to the relevant authorities. Another hand shot up. What about the claims that your father and his wife created fake charitable foundations? All I can say is that the foundations in question have been dissolved, and legitimate educational trusts have been established for the minor children involved. The doors at the back of the room burst open. Mom stormed in, mascara streaked down her face. "Serenity, stop this, please." Security moved to intercept her, but I held up my hand. "Let her speak." "How could you?" She reached the podium, grabbing my arm. "Everything we did was for you. Was it?" I turned to face her, aware of cameras capturing every moment. "Was it for me when you altered Grandma's will? When you planned to declare me incompetent? When you used Penelope's future as leverage? You don't understand." "I understand perfectly." I held up my phone, playing the recording from yesterday's meeting. Her voice filled the room. Once she signs, the trust transfers immediately. The reporters erupted in questions. Mum stumbled back, reality hitting her as cameras flashed. "Ladies and gentlemen," I addressed the room, "this press conference isn't about exposing crimes. It's about announcing solutions." I nodded to Harry, who started the presentation behind me. "Today, I'm launching the Helen's Hope Foundation, named after my grandmother. We'll provide legal and financial support to young adults whose inheritance or financial futures have been compromised by family fraud." "Is this revenge?" someone called out. "No," I said firmly. "This is justice and prevention." I clicked to the next slide, showing Penelope and Samuel's smiling faces. These are real lives affected by financial fraud, real futures almost destroyed by adult greed. "Serenity," Mom tried again, softer now. "We can fix this, as a family." "We are fixing it." I gestured to the back of the room, where Penelope and Samuel stood with Harry. "Just not the way you planned." The doors burst open again. This time, it was Dad and Vanessa, followed by Larry. "You've made your point," Dad called out. "Now stop this circus." "Actually," Harry stepped forward, "she hasn't even started. Would you like to explain the offshore accounts, or should we play the recordings?" Larry pushed forward. "You little." "Choose your next words carefully," I cut in. "Remember those papers you signed? One wrong move and everything goes public, not just the recordings, everything." The room had gone silent, reporters frantically taking notes as my family's drama unfolded live. "Now," I continued, addressing both the press and my family, "let's talk about the future. The Helen's Hope Foundation will launch next month with an initial endowment of $10 million, the very money you tried to steal." "That money was meant for family," Vanessa protested. "It still is." I clicked to the final slide, showing the foundation's first initiative. "We're starting with a program specifically designed to help blended families navigate financial transparency and trust, something we clearly needed." "You can't do this," Dad said weakly. "Actually, I can, and I am." I turned back to the reporters. "The foundation will be overseen by an independent board, including financial experts, family law specialists, and 2 very bright teenagers who showed me what real family loyalty looks like." Penelope and Samuel stepped forward, joining me at the podium. Mom made a choke sound, seeing her daughter stand with me. "Any questions?" I asked the room. Dozens of hands shot up, but before I could choose one, Larry made a break for the door. 2 FBI agents stepped in to block his path. "Oh, right," I added casually. "I should mention that the authorities have some questions about certain international transactions. They'll be conducting interviews immediately following this press conference." The room erupted in chaos. Reporters shouting questions, cameras flashing, my parents and their spouses being approached by stern-faced agents. "Ready to go?" Harry appeared at my side. I looked at my family one last time, not the adults who had betrayed me, but the siblings who had chosen truth over comfort. "Yeah," I said, taking Penelope and Samuel's hands. "Let's get out of here. We've got a foundation to build." As we left through the side door, I heard Mom call out one last time, "Serenity, please." But I kept walking. Sometimes the only way to fix a broken family is to build a new one from the pieces that still tell the truth. Behind us, the press conference dissolved into a frenzy of questions and accusations. But we were already moving forward, towards something better than revenge, toward justice, toward healing, toward hope. The morning sun streamed through the Foundation's office windows as I reviewed applications with Harry. 3 days after the press conference, and we'd already received hundreds of requests for help. "This one's interesting," Harry said, sliding a file across my desk. "Girl in Phoenix, stepmom trying to redirect her college fund into a family business." My phone buzzed, a text from Samuel. "Dad took the plea deal." Before I could respond, Penelope burst into the office. "Mum's here, she's in the lobby." I exchanged looks with Harry. "Want me to send her away?" he offered. "No." I stood up. "It's time." Mom looked smaller somehow, sitting in the lobby's modern chairs. No designer outfit today, just jeans and a simple blouse. She jumped up when she saw me. "I didn't think you'd see me," she said. "Almost didn't." I sat across from her. "Larry's taking a plea deal." "I know." She twisted her wedding ring. "I'm filing for divorce." Turns out he was stealing from me long before any of this started. Karma's funny that way. "Serenity, She stopped, noticing Penelope hovering nearby. "Could we talk privately?" "Anything you need to say, you can say in front of her." I gestured for Penelope to join us. "She's earned that much." Mum's eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry. To both of you. I got caught up in the lifestyle, the prestige. I forgot what really mattered." "Like your daughters?" Penelope's voice cracked. "Yes." Mom reached for her hand. "Starting with you, I've already contacted your school. Told them the truth about everything. They're letting you keep your scholarship. Your real one, not the fake one Larry created." My phone buzzed again. "Samuel, Vanessa's leaving too. Can I come stay with you sometimes?" "The kids are the priority now," I told Mum. "Whatever happens next, they come first." "I know." She pulled an envelope from her purse. "That's why I brought this. The original trust agreement, the real one. I found it in Larry's safe." I took the envelope, feeling its weight. "Why now?" "Because you were right. About everything." She looked around the Foundation's lobby, at the mission statement painted on the wall. "Protecting tomorrow's legacy today." "You're doing what I should have done. Protecting what matters." The elevator dinged. Dad stepped out, looking as worn as Mom. He froze when he saw us. "Elijah," Mom said quietly. "Genesis." He approached slowly. "I just signed the divorce papers. Vanessa, she's been working with the FBI, turning evidence. Smart woman," I said, "always playing all sides." "I deserve that." He sat heavily in a nearby chair. "I deserve all of this." "No," I corrected him. "You deserve consequences. There's a difference." Harry appeared in my office doorway, holding more files. "Sorry to interrupt, but we've got that video call with the Phoenix girl in 5 minutes. I stood up. "You both need to leave, but first..." I handed them each a business card. "These are good therapists, family counseling specialists. Use them." "Can we..." Mum hesitated. "Can we try to fix things? Somehow?" I looked at Penelope, who nodded slightly. "Maybe. Eventually. But not today. Today, I have other families to help." "I understand." Mum stood, hugging Penelope tightly. "I'm so proud of you both, even if you don't believe me yet." They left separately, shoulders bowed under the weight of consequences finally caught up. "You okay?" Harry asked as we walked back to my office. "Actually, yeah." I picked up the Phoenix girl's file. "Ready to help someone else's family avoid our mistakes." The video call connected, showing a nervous teenage face. "Ms. Hicks, I'm Maya. Thank you for talking to me." "Call me Serenity." I sat down, Penelope settling into the chair beside me. "Tell us your story." As Maya began speaking, I glanced at the framed photo on my desk, Grandma Helen at her last Christmas, smiling knowingly. She'd seen this coming, prepared for it, made sure I'd have the tools to not just survive but thrive. My phone lit up with a final text from Samuel. "Dad's crying. Think he finally gets it?" I typed back, "Good, that's where healing starts." Then I turned back to Maya.
ready to help write a different ending to another family's story. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction, it's creation. Creating something better, something stronger, something true. And truth, unlike family fortunes, compounds with interest. Okay, Maya, I said, opening my notebook. Let's talk about protecting your future, because that's what family should have been doing all along.